And as soon as you get your camera, I will put your
Yeah,
camera
let me
on.
turn the camera on for you.
Actually, let's see.
All right.
A little bit bigger now.
Oops. How do I rotate my camera? There it is.
Okay, there you go.
Do you want me to go landscape?
Maybe. Yeah, there you go. You did it.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh. That is the orangest shirt I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Uh,
Let me change my lighting really quickly here.
yeah, by all means.
But go ahead.
ExtremeDad, thank you very much for coming. I watched Will's video. Prior to Will's video, the first time I heard of you was when you talked to Mr. Girl. Speaking of lighting. And that's all I knew about you. And I was very much inclined to just take what Mr. Grill said at face value. And so I was really shocked when I seen all the things in Will's video. I messaged him immediately after I watched it, and I said that he did a beautiful, wonderful thing. He genuinely did something good in the world. And I still really believe that. And I don't think that anything in it was misrepresented. I think that the biggest misrepresentation that's happened since that video was released is the confidence that some streamers have had in what they think they know for literally no fucking reason at all.
For no reason at all.
Yeah, it's completely unjustified. So the really big thing that people talked about, and also I want to talk about this stuff first because I guess I just want you to. I don't know how to not talk about this stuff first. I still want to talk to you about Mr. Girl things. So that's what I originally asked you to talk about. And I'd like you to be on that part of the video too. But I think that the tone of even that part will change a little bit because of everything that I've seen and learned about you. So I guess I want to address the Will's video and then what happened after Will's video about you. So
And yeah, what do you want to start with?
So when Will's video came out and I watched it, I thought, wow, he's like totally in the clear now. There's like no way anybody could really have any doubts. Will knocked it out of the fucking park. And
Yeah, I felt the same way. I really liked it. We watched it and checked it out, and like me and my girlfriend watched it together, and we thought it was great. But you know, it was short lived.
it felt like the answer you were looking for, right? It had to have.
Definitely. Really quickly, it was one of those things that like we. How do you
Thank you for the follow, Nair.
like we kind of had this like sense of I feel bad because it's like I don't want to take away from his hard work, and I feel like there's this like sense of like okay, it was good, but at the same time, there's been a lot of issues from the start, and it didn't necessarily like a lot of the video is just him kind of like shitting on me, or he's like, he calls me these like he's very disrespectful, and then it takes this one thing, and all of a sudden he throws it all out the window. So it's obviously his conviction in it wasn't very strong. And like on top of that, then he just starts openly, like publicly disrespecting me, saying all these things to me that even if I had flat out lied about everything, wouldn't be acceptable to do to anybody. I don't think that like the way that he's spoken to me is the way that you would treat somebody. He certainly wouldn't do that to me in real life. And so it's just a very bittersweet. I don't really have the words to describe the emotions I'm looking for, but it's just very bittersweet and very difficult.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I think that Will thinks that you had a great injustice done to you, which doesn't mean he wants to be your best friend. And I think that when he's telling that story, it's really smart of him to present that honestly. To not hide like if he thinks that you have like dumb takes or if you're not good at debating, which I think are some of the things I heard him say. It's really important for him to say that because it kind of puts his biases out in the open, right? He's saying like this guy isn't like my best friend. I'm not gonna go meet him at the bar, but like that doesn't fucking matter. Something bad happened to him and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, I suppose. But when you I'm gonna turn my air conditioner on. Tell me if this is too loud. It's a
Okay,
little bit warm in here.
I
But
feel you.
it's 100 degrees out today. The issue is that he shows extreme preference for Evelyn and like their side of the story. I guess you could say
Hmm.
he lets her lie about so much, and there's so much in there that is just ridiculously untrue and doesn't make any sense, and that she's provided no evidence for. And so then, like, when the tone of the thing is kind of like anti extreme dad, and there's a bunch of stuff that makes Evelyn look better, even though it's completely untrue, and you're like going to just completely kind of like shit on me publicly, I think it's not very compelling. I think that it makes the overall point that like this was a conspiracy set up by like Vosh and Xanderhall to make me like look like a
Think you'd be funny,
pedophile when
sir.
that was they knew that to be untrue and they just were kind of using this to make their audience harass me or hate me at least. Like it's hard to get to that point when you do all of the things that I just described. Like
Thank you, Glory Sam.
people are predisposed to like Xanderhall, like Vosh, and kind of like not like me, if you will. So it really takes a lot to compel somebody to think otherwise. And I just feel like Will did a bad job at making a compelling story.
Well, from my perspective, and I will say out in the open, I really like Will. I consider him to be a friend. However, I don't think that why I'm talking to you has anything to do with that at all. That's not why I'm going to defend you against these post documentary accusations. I think that when I watched it, like I said, all I knew about you is exactly what Mr. Grill said, and I thought that to be the truth. And that's it, just face value. I'm a Mr. Grill mod. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that I've done prior to talking to you. Like when I reached out to you to say like I wanted to talk to you about Mr. Grill. I'm making a video about Mr. Grill, and that's why I originally wanted to talk to you because you were somebody that didn't like him. Uh,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and like I said, later on, I still want to talk to you about that stuff. But now this is way more important to me because I think that Will did make a really good case for you. So me going in thinking that no matter how it played out, that you did something that was really inappropriate, at the end of that, I was like, oh wow, he actually did literally nothing wrong, and Vaush and Xanderhall are huge fucking pieces of shit for this. And I was so upset about how that went down and so happy that like it was very clearly demonstrated to me that that wasn't the case, that in my mind anybody who was watching it in good faith would feel the same way. Like I told people in real life about it, people who don't give a shit about Twitch poll, who don't know anything about any of these people. I talked to people at work about it. I talked to my wife about it. I talked to somebody that I saw on Friday about it. Like
I really
and
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. It's crazy to see somebody like Will care about what happened to
and
you.
and I will say this, like Will's primary motivation, like the reason why he underwent the project in the first place, and the thing that makes him probably do it, besides even though he disagrees with me heavily, is he wanted me to have a less negative, like a kind of better life, where I wasn't just obsessed with the this situation all the time. And I think there is something noble in that, and I think that that is a good thing, and I do appreciate it. It's it's just that like, and I think that he did a really good job at doing what you're saying, telling a compelling story in regards to the fact that they lied and that the things that they said were untrue, and that he does do a good job at that.
Thank you for the last three that followed.
I'm glad that you found it so like so interesting, and it actually means a lot to me to hear you say that. Because sometimes people like make me feel like it's just stupid and like I shouldn't talk about it anymore. And if I had done that, then I certainly would be living a much more negative life because it's hard to forget about.
I think that if I was in your shoes, I would go insane. I would be every day, I would only be thinking about what's the one thing that I can find? What's the one thing that I can figure out to show people that I didn't do the things they said that I did? In fact, I was in a really, really weird situation once. Do you want to hear a fun story
Please,
that kind of like really fucked up my life for a while? So I
please.
worked I worked at a McDonald's, okay? And I got to back up a little bit. I just had a kid, and her mom and I weren't doing super great. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna move down to the city, and I'm gonna get a job because there's no fucking jobs up here. I live down in the middle of nowhere, and I'm gonna get a job to support you guys. And a good friend of mine and his family said, you can stay with us, but you got to get a job really fast. Okay, took the first thing that I could get. It was McDonald's, and on my my third day there, we were slammed. We were right next to one of the largest like concert halls, whatever you want to call it. Big place in my state for concerts. And so we're always slammed. And I had my Powerade around the corner because we had to keep it on the manager's desk. And as I walked around the corner, I'm thinking in my Powerade, I mouthed the words, I gotta slam that. And as I walked around, because like I gotta slam my Powerade down real quick, because I'm not gonna keep running back and forth to drink it. So I walk around the corner, I mouth, I gotta slam that. And as I'm turning the corner, a female coworker is bent over in front of me, and a female manager is like dead-eyed looking right at me. And she said my name, and I looked up and sort of snapped out of my like rushing around zone. She's go in the back and get some more cups right now. And I was like, just sort of piecing together what she thinks just happened. And I go to say she goes, now. And I went in the back and I had an absolute panic attack. And I'm like, I'm going to get fired from my job. I'm going to have to tell the people to let me stay there with them. I get fired from my job. They're going to say, what did you get fired for? Like,
Right?
what am I going to tell them? Well, you see, it looked like I was being like super duper sexual harassy here, but I wasn't. I was thinking about my beverage. And I was like, nobody's going to believe you. You're going to lose your job. You're going to get kicked out of your house because somebody misunderstood something that was completely innocuous. And I think I stayed back there for like 10 minutes. I came back up, and I was certain that, like, effectively, as far as I was concerned, my life was over. Uh, and that if anybody else asked me, like, I'm not going to lie to anybody about what happened because I don't lie to people. And I'm just going to have to deal with the fact that people are going to think because I found myself in a really odd situation that I was being a total fucking creep to one of my coworkers.
Yeah, and
And
I mean it's difficult. That situation, like you it's almost like there's no point in even trying to explain it. It's almost like you just kind of when you if your coworker were to
pragmatist.
call you out or the manager were to call you out, you're almost just like, I get it. Okay, I get it. I understand. Like you almost don't even try to explain it. You're like, I'm not even gonna. I know what this looks like. Like
Yeah, it
you
was
know.
like, what can I say? It feels like I'll just make it worse.
Yeah, totally.
And luckily, nothing really came of it. The woman that was bent over in front of me didn't work with me for like 2 weeks. That she got put on a different shift, and like my 16-year-old manager, which was awesome, being like 20, having a 16-year-old manager. She like made fun of my beard and was kind of shitty to me. But like, I'll take that. I'll take it. That's fine.
Yeah,
I
no
don't have to.
consequences.
But I felt my life ending in the back of that McDonald's. And when I was watching your story, I thought about that a lot because that was I'm a lot older than 20 now, and I think about that story all the time because
One of the things like you know, it probably wouldn't have ended up being as bad as you thought. Like even if you were to like get fired, you probably could have gotten another job in another McDonald's. But it's that sense of impending doom in the moment that like when you kind of don't know what the consequences will be. That's the worst part.
yeah, I guess maybe it's hard for me to reconcile how it might have been since nothing really came of it. And now I can kind of tell it as like a funny story, whereas when I'm telling it to you, I'm really focusing on the not funny aspects of it.
Yeah.
Uh, because that's how I felt when I was watching that video. It
Yeah,
just
and
felt
it's
like
definitely
that, but it never stopped for you. Like you were in the back of
yeah,
that
and there's a
McDonald's
lot
for
of
years.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, I kind of still am. Like, the people who, like, somebody was just saying to me in Chud Logic stream earlier, like, oh, I hope you know that this is gonna, like, you're gonna only be able to think about this for the next 80 years. Like, oh, this is gonna follow you. Like, this is gonna destroy your life. And it's like, people really want to kind of drum up that, like, back of the McDonald's feeling. And it's like, really, I mean, one, I've been doing this for, like, a few years already. Two, like, you can't take anything from me that I haven't already lost. And, like, three, things, I'll be okay. Like, regardless, like, no matter what happens, I'll be alright. And, like, but yeah, there is this back of the McDonald's feeling, and people really want to fuel that by, like, making comments. I think people enjoy it.
I
And,
do
like,
too.
making me feel that way.
Like,
But,
and I think people. I agree with you. Sorry, I should have said that.
yeah. But, I mean, it's just one of those things, like, you gotta be, as long as you're kind of aware of it and you kind of, no, it still sucks. Never mind.
I understand the trying to see the bright side of it. You can still feel that weight on you. So I think in my head, when I saw the video, I was just like, this is. I was like actually inspired by seeing it, like seeing somebody that I've talked to on stream and off that I thought was a really good person make something that was like profoundly good that people in this space just don't do. It inspired me. I was like, all right, I kind of took a week off of streaming and I need to get back to the thing that I really think is meaningful to me. And just, I think to some degree, it made me think about the ways in which I like helping people and like doing things. And I was super happy for you. I was super happy for him. I was like, I hope you get a lot of views off of it. I hope that like all the good things come to you, Will, because you knocked it out of the park. I think you really helped this guy out. And then
I think it is the most viewed video on his channel so far.
it's gotta
Or it's
be.
getting there.
Yeah,
It's getting there.
at least like for how long it's been up, it's gotta be. Yeah. And so I went up north on Saturday, and then I came back home. And when I came back home, I seen that Will was about to be talking to President Sunday, and I was like laying in bed. Well, I was about to go to bed. I was like, all right, I'll just put it on my TV. I got in bed. My wife's already passed out. And I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this and maybe fall asleep to it. This should just be something really cool and puffy. I'm going to say some nice things to Will in the chat while it's going on, show him some support. And that lasted about 5 minutes. And then it started getting kind of shitty. And I got pretty visceral, the kind of me in chat that I have mentioned a couple times on my stream and to some other creators that I don't really like how I behave in chat. And I was just basically like, fuck this guy, dude. Will, no matter what, like, hold your ground. I got your back, dude. I'll be loud about it. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't give a fuck what this guy says. And when he brought out that screenshot, it looked like to me that Will was so wholly unprepared for any opposition. And just seeing it in front of him just tore down any kind of, like, it's a lot easier when you're ready for a fight, you know? But instead, when you think that you're ready for somebody to come and put their hand on your shoulder and go, hey, you did a good job. Like, let's talk about this thing that you made. When you go in with that mindset and somebody shows something that kind of just blows a big part of it apart, I think that it's just like a critical hit. You can't recover from that super fast. All that's going to go through your head is like, I could just like, it was really hard to watch him react to that. It's like, how did I not know about this? Is this even real? Like all these things. And President Sunday said something that I really fucking hate because I heard it repeated by Chud, and I don't think I heard it exactly from Zonia, but I haven't heard anybody dismiss this claim. And then they brought Dan in about the two. First of all, Dan makes redact.dev. It is a software that deletes stuff. It doesn't. There's no indication that teaches them anything about what things look like when they're deleted or how screenshots work. But also, it deletes things slower than I can manually delete them myself. Like, supposedly it's getting there. Whatever. We'll see. Dan's an okay, at best, as far as I can tell from what I've seen, software developer. That's about it. And he just said what everybody else had already said. Said, well, why would she say that unprompted? And I have an answer to that. But first, I really want to address the most important part of this is that I have no reason to think that screenshot's real. Zero reason.
Right.
Everybody said why would they go through all the trouble to do this complicated process to fake a screenshot? It's not difficult. And I have some
Yeah.
evidence of this. So the first time I ever, I Photoshop screenshots to fuck with my buddies. They say something that sounds sussy in a Discord, I'll just fuck with them. And I made sure, just right before you came on too, I finally got a hold of my buddy so that I could show this. Let's see here. Yeah, that'll work. I gotta pull this over here so I can actually see it. This is the first one I ever made, and I used it. I made it using paint.net, which is not a sophisticated piece of software. It's free. Anybody can use it. So this right here, my buddy, Cam the Jellyman, said, I was almost always the smallest dude in the gym, so I worked a ton on my bottom game. They're talking about like wrestling. But my top game is pretty oppressive. Lots of switching up directions, quick scrambling, then once I pass into mount or side control, I start cooking them. I'll see if I have a video of me fucking around with some of my friends. Now, there's a lot of like really, really common like terms in the gay community here. My top game, my bottom game, and then like fucking around with my friends. Like, it'd be kind of funny if I fucked with this message a little bit and reposted it. So I did. And I didn't save good. 1 second. I'm just going to re-pull it. Oh, shit. Oh, no. I clicked the wrong thing. And now you're gone. There we go. And you're back. Oh, yeah. You know what? You're going to have to be gone for just a second here while I grab these.
But like the thing is like there is no reason. The Will had no more reason to believe the messages were real than he did that they're fake. Like, and that's the thing about it is like there's no credibility on Evelyn's side. Evelyn has zero credibility. She's
Right.
lied about basically everything, and then he for him to say like he says like, oh, if I believe this, like if this is real, then how do I know? Like he's basically saying like, first of all, Evelyn's lying about this, and he's like, oh, I believe this, so I'll also believe her other lies about her saying she was 14 in the voice chat, and it's just like that was fake too. She's made up so many things at this point, and Will just doesn't want to double down and call her a liar. He's afraid to call her a liar. He's afraid to call her out, and
I'll
it's
call her a
just
liar.
easy for him. I know, right? And it's just easy for him to say that I'm the liar, because he's already been shitting on me. He's already like normalized it, and that's what's so upsetting to me is it's like he thinks he can talk to me one way, and when I allow that to happen, it makes it easier for him to just go with the socially acceptable version of events. It's like way easier for him to just throw me to the wolves, cast me aside, call me out, than it is for him to take the difficult and right decision of like saying, no, Evelyn, you're a liar. You made this up. You're worried about how you look. You want to look good. This made you look bad, and so now you're coming out with this to try and fucking protect yourself. And like he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, the last thing you said, I 100% agree on, and this was something so like as soon as I finished the President Sunday video and it ended because it wasn't very long, this is how upset I was about it. Not only was I in bed, my wife sleeping next to me, I just got a brand new $130 fan. It's fucking hot. I've been in the car for over 8 hours. I had to meet my mother-in-law for the first time, and I've been with my wife for 10 years. That was stressful. I got my wife to patch things up with her dad's side of the family. Thank you very much for the subscription. I appreciate it. I drove home. I think we had to do some running around too when I got home. So I'm probably like 9.5 hours in the car. Just hot. I'm miserable. I'm tired. I was butt ass naked in my bed with brand new big ass fan blowing on me, and very relaxed, ready to go to bed. And I got up, I got dressed, and I ran to my computer and I started messaging Will. Like, dude, this is fucked up. I didn't fully understand what they had. The like hurt your credibility in it. I had to I was trying to get him to ask, and he was very, very, very distraught. He wasn't really able to super well engage with me. He said we'll have to talk about it tomorrow. So him and I stopped talking. I pulled up the stream that I just watched, and I had his video pulled up too. And I went to go watch his video, and I seen it had been pulled down. So I watched President Sunday one over again. I understood what was happening, and I was very tired. And when I seen that his video was pulled down, I was really really concerned for him because he worked his ass off on this thing. When I talked to him, he'd tell me, oh, I'm working on the Extreme Daddyfesto. I know that it was always going. And so, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna sleep on this, and tomorrow I'm gonna think it over. And when I woke up, it was all very, very clear to me what had happened, what was going wrong. And then I seen Will on Chud Logic right when I woke up, sat down, watched that, and I got mad. I got really mad about what I was hearing. So I'm gonna come back to that and about what you said about Evelyn is CNCS, right? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
they're the same person.
I was pretty darn sure. I just want to confirm this. So here's the one that I edited. As opposed to the other one, it says I was almost always the smallest dude. See, I took out the gym part. So I worked a ton on my bottom game, but my top game is pretty oppressive. That edited part, where it says edited, was in the original as well. Lots of switching up directions, quick scrambling. Then once I pass into mount or side, I start cooking them. I'll see if I have a video of me fucking some of my friends. And see, I even kept the new in there, like he just typed that line. It looks completely legitimate and real.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not hard. People came in and they were saying how like difficult it would be and how Evelyn wouldn't have the technical experience, and it's just like, dude, first of all, there were multiple people in the chat that she was in, like, kind of quote unquote conspiring over this. Any one of them could have done it, and even besides all of that, there's just certain discrepancies that make no sense and that you can't explain, and people are trying to act like I should just admit to it when I find that to be just so disgusting. Like, they're just trying to essentially be like, just admit to it, just say it's real, just say
take
it's
the
real.
fall.
And they're like, yeah, they're basically attacking me about it, and it's like, dude, it's fake. Why? Like, how many times do I have to say that? And like, people just won't accept it, even if the thing is that even if we just moved past this, if we just disagree, if you want to believe that I sent it, that's fine. It's not the point. The point is not, this really doesn't do anything. But the fact of the matter is that they're just trying to use this to say, oh, so everything else is justified. See, so
Correct.
like, yeah. So like, if this is real, then everything else is justified. Then like, oh, Vosh and Xanderhall, despite the fact that they lied and called me a child predator and said that they could get me arrested because I was actively engaging in fucking their Discord and preying on children, that's all okay because if this is real, then oh well, you know. And I just
Yeah.
think that that's fucked up.
I think that everything that I seen in that video that happened to you is extremely fucked up. Um, the one thing that I'll give you that I personally criticized Will for is that he, like, when he talked about you having to leave your home, he put emphasis on what kind of home it was. I was like, you didn't have to do that. There's no need.
You want to know what's so crazy about that? Is that like the only thing that was left was these like was 6 like black like spots on the ground from where the tires were. Like, and like that was like, oh, and there was some like molten like metal that had run down. But like, that was the only thing that was left. And I'm not talking about just me. We're talking about the entire town that we lived in. Just ash. I mean, just like,
What happened? Your
it
house
was
burned
the
down?
wild. Oh yeah, not just my house. The entire town. The entire town is gone. Like,
I didn't understand that.
gone. Yeah, it was in the Oregon wildfires, and it, like, literally, we were in this place called Detroit, and Detroit's gone now. Like, Detroit, it doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know how much it exists right now, but like, the point is that it was all burnt to the ground. I mean, everything, the entire, like, you can pull up pictures. Like, it was,
Nuts.
and and the thing was is that yeah, I just lost my job like 2 weeks before, and it was just a really really bad situation. But I mean, yeah, the only things left were the like the 6 tires. There's 4, but we had 2 stacked. But the point is that like,
Go on.
it was a trailer, but it not only the trailers burned, all the homes burned. But
Oh
I
boy.
still can't get over that.
Go on.
To just have it only be the tires, like the tire marks on the ground being the only things that were left. I mean, really, it was really remarkable, really devastating. I mean, the entire town, like I said, was completely gone. Yeah, thank you.
I know.
It's hard for
I
me to
know
put
that
into
feeling
words.
too. September
Yeah.
2019, my grandmother's house exploded, and I seen pictures on
Oh
the
my god.
news, and I seen I seen it for the first time today after people, or not today, this weekend when I went up there, and it's crazy. There was nothing of what used to be there.
Yeah, it's all gone.
The house was just gone. There's a new garage there, and I pulled out and I just said to my wife, I
Look,
said, I fucking hate it.
there's a picture of Detroit right there. Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
You got it. No, get down. Down a little bit. The next one. Yeah, right there.
this one here with the fire going.
Scroll down. No, scroll down. Right there, right below your subscriber thing. Detroit, Oregon. It says it. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. Up one. There you go.
Oh
There
yeah,
it is. That's a good example. I mean, it's just like everything was just gone. I mean, it just. We're talking about the whole town. I mean, the whole town.
yeah. That's
I mean, it's crazy.
where was this at in your timeline of
This was
bad
in
things happening?
2019. So it's like so it was 2 weeks after like I lost my job basically. So this was about like maybe I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months I think after I had like been on, no, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe almost 6. It was 2 weeks after I lost my job. So I'd have to look exactly when I debated Vosh and Xanderhall. I think I debated them June 2019 or July, and I think I lost my job. Uh, I'd have to look, but I'm gonna write that down actually, because I gotta get the voicemail ready. I think people want to see that or whatever, which is just embarrassing. But um, I
Yeah.
forget. It was 2 weeks after I lost my job though, because I remember that distinctly because I remember thinking like this is made so much worse by Vosh's lies. Like if not for Vosh's audience believing that I was this child predator who was actively trying to prey on them, um, I don't think that the hate and harassment would
I
be as
live in Detroit.
intense,
I thought
and
so
I don't
too.
think people would be as convicted in
Michigan.
like trying to get me canceled, if you will. And I think that that would have left me in a better position. Like I wouldn't have been so fucking broke. I wouldn't have been in such a bad situation. And it was just hard to not have this like intense, burning hatred for Vosh.
I can't even imagine. Um.
And
Yeah. Go
and
ahead.
the worst part is that I asked him. I said like, um, I was like, hey, enough is enough. Like, can we? And I won't make this like my sob story about how much I hate Vosh or anything, but I messaged him and I was like, hey, enough is enough. Like, can't like just tell your audience that you lied. Just tell them that like that's untrue. And he just was like, basically he said that nobody on stream is directing hate your way. We haven't mentioned you in a long time. And it's like the videos of him saying that are still up to this day. Like, how is that not directing hate my way? Like, I don't understand.
Well, you're not going to hear anybody defending Vash on this stream.
No, no, I won't make it all about that, but I'm just saying, like, it, it, anyway, yeah, you get the idea. I won't make it all about that, I promise.
Hey, look, man, I brought you on here to hear what you have to say. I'm not trying to limit you in any way. That's
Well, thank you.
I didn't even know that that was part of it. All the more reason that I want to clear up some of this nonsense. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, you've been through a lot of shit for something that people think you did that you didn't do, and that kills me. On Saturdays, I do a stream about conspiracy theories, but I try really hard to distinguish the difference between a theory and a fantasy. Um, and I don't think that if I had ever been told about your story outside of like the Mr. Grill context, where I'm just sort of like things laid out like it was the facts from somebody that I, thought had the correct information because he usually doesn't speak on something unless he does. I think that I wouldn't have bought it either. I'd want to learn more. But unfortunately, I wasn't in that position. So I kind of pride myself in being able to sift through bullshit. And hearing about your story, I was no more immune than any other person who stumbled into hearing about you and thinking like, oh, okay, this guy is just like, I didn't quite have all the details, but like, I think he maybe was doing some fucked up shit. And now I don't.
And
I don't think he did anything wrong.
that's what's so upsetting about Mr. Girl. I think it's just like the way that he engages with my story is very like very deceptive, very wrong, but also that like he is doing this thing that's like very difficult for me to understand, where
Thank you,
he
Mercury.
says that I he says at one point like, oh, the difference is Pie-Man is 16 and not 14, and then he says like, oh, you can't cuss at a minor, and he just like he's making these points where it's like most people believe either Vosh's lies or Xanderhall's lies, and that's the main core of the problem. And Mr. Girl takes it a step beyond that, where he says, no, like I have a problem with what you actually did. Like my problem is like you did something wrong, and I know what like actually happened. Like I based on the DMs that I've read, I think that you're wrong, and nobody else had said that to that point. I mean, Vosh was saying that I did things that I didn't do. He was lying about what I did and saying that was wrong. And Xanderhall too was saying that I did something wrong, but it wasn't true. And what Mr. Girl is saying is like, no, what actually happened, I have a problem with that. And that was just a very, I wasn't prepared for that. It was a very difficult situation to understand. And on top of that, he's the last person who should be calling me out for that, in my professional opinion.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if he wants to recant anything that he said after this comes out to him. I think that maybe there might be a slight delay with things in the Twitch space making their way over to him, but I plan on saying at least something. I get pretty rowdy in his chat. Like I said, I'm a mod. I have a fairly decent chance of getting my message at least read by the guy. I'd say there's a good chance that he reads them out loud.
Well, and like,
So I want to know, or maybe I'll hit up that open DMs on his Discord because it bothers me.
yeah, it bothers me a little bit too.
Because he
I'm
had the
just
timeline
very,
wrong of the messages.
yeah, and he just and that's the thing, is that he's like calling me out the entire time, saying like, oh, stop lying. Like he's just the way that he goes about it. I mean, if your audience hasn't seen it, it's we're kind of not giving them proper context, but just the way that he acts, the way that he like is so convinced that I did something wrong, and then tries to kind of gaslight me into like saying that I believe that she was 14 or something
Right.
like that. Like, it's just very. And the thing is that I made my video for him. Like the video on my channel, I made that to kind of explain to him the details. And like because when it first happened, when I asked to be a mod, I didn't even care about being a mod, but it was the fact that like he believed something that was untrue, and he like thought that I had this online record of pedophilia, and I wanted to kind of clear that up, and I just never succeeded in doing so.
Yeah. When I rewatched the 2 hours of hate on the Extreme Daddyfesto, I had a really hard time with him getting the timeline wrong. He kept saying, "Well, you still saw she was 14," and none of the things that he had an issue with you saying happened after she said that she was 14, which was a lie, anyways. Which I mean, when you're having the conversation, it doesn't matter if it's a lie or not. Maybe in a
Sure.
legal sense, but like he and I really care about the morality of the situation, and it seemed like he had that piece of information wrong, and he wasn't willing to hear it. Which I don't know if it's because he got the information from Destiny and like he just felt really confident that he knew what was going on because of that. It's still really unfortunate on your end. I can't pretend to know why people do the things that they do, but I
Yeah,
was still really
exactly.
upset for you. And so the the so I want to move back to the things that came out after the Extreme Daddy Festo came out. So there was the there was the screenshot which could have been faked, and they talked about the spacing, which is absolutely a nonsense argument. I there I would like somebody to demonstrate to me how the spacing is weird. Because Discord has inconsistent spacing, anyways, depending on if you're a mobile or if you're on PC. Between lines, that's not always perfectly even in its spacing. It's just not. I was checking it out today. It's not perfectly even. And even if even it, deleting messages doesn't make a weird spacing on it, anyways. Yeah, somebody in chat just said changing your resolution changes the spacing. Discord is really susceptible to spacing being changed. It's not that it's literally nothing to think of. So there's two main possibilities in my head as to what's happening with that, and one which I heavily lean towards is that it's just fake. She has the motivation to do so. She has shown herself to be dishonest, and it's super easy to do. And when everybody just skates over the fact that it's super easy to do by saying, like, why would somebody go through all these steps? Like, well, for one, she was trying to get you and she looked bad anyways. Even if it was complicated, I can still buy that. That's still totally believable to me, but it's not hard. It's so easy to do. I figured it out on a whim in 5 minutes. Granted, I work with computers and shit, but like it didn't test my skills at all. I used the highlight box, cut, paste, grab the little dropper to get the gray from the Discord, and then just filled in like the gaps. It's super easy to do. If I spent 45 minutes on one, which I can't even imagine it would take me that long, I could make it flawless. Nobody would ever be able to tell. I could put I could draw little borders next to the letters to make sure everything was right. I could make little guides for the spacing and make sure it was perfect. There's no way anybody would be able to tell. And I talked to somebody last night who said that if you're on browser, you can actually just inspect element and change.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no reason for me to believe that it's real. Yeah, and somebody in chat saying there's a lot easier ways to do it. And if that's fine, but if 5 minutes isn't even the easiest way, then that's all the more reason. So she has the motivation to do it. She looked like shit in that video because she was shitty. She was actually really fucking shitty to you. And the video came out. I don't think she knew she was going to look that bad, but maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Either way, I'm sure it didn't feel good to see her represented that way on the video. And she just happened to find it only the day after it came out. I have a hard time accepting all these ideas in a row. However, the second possibility, which I have entertained, and I still have to least some degree, I'm probably like 90% and 10%. The other camp is that in which I'm still, which also doesn't change anything at all about whether you did anything good or bad. And it doesn't change anything at all about what I think about you or whether I would even consider it lying. If those messages did exist and you deleted those ones, I would understand that in the most human level. Saying, hey, Will, I'm going to give you some screenshots. I just want to let you know these are the only two plausible scenarios in my mind. I'm going to give you these screenshots to show you everything that happened that's relevant to this. But I'm also not super comfortable with everybody knowing that I'm in DDLG, considering the things that have happened to me in the past.
Like,
I just
totally
don't
understand
want
that.
And
the thing is that it wouldn't change anything.
Correct.
It wouldn't change anything.
It would just change the fact, like, maybe I don't want everybody to know that. That's personal. That's private. I
The
thought I
thing
was
is,
talking to an adult.
All that it does is it makes Evelyn look a little less bad because, like, then she's not bringing up DDLG out of nowhere. Like, she's not the one to do it. So it's like, oh, so like, it makes it seem like, because there's even a part in Will's video where he's like, oh, what do you and Vosh know about DDLG? Like, he kind of shits on DDLG.
I know plenty
even
about
in his
DDLG,
video.
Laska.
And it's like,
you.
Are you talking?
I talked to chat real quick to answer without interrupting you.
Got it. I couldn't know. I didn't know if my headset was fucked up. But the point is that, like, the only thing that screenshot does is it makes Evelyn look a little bit better because it makes it seem like I was the one to bring that up. Mm-hmm. And that's the only reason to, like, that's the only motivation to even bring this up. Because if Evelyn, like, was just, like, if it was me that I actually said it and I just deleted the messages, then there's no point. Like, it changes nothing. Correct. So I don't even think, like, Evelyn, if I really had just deleted them and, like, Evelyn just remembered them now, I don't even think she would be that motivated to, like, bring them up. I think that the reason why she's saying this is because she wants to look better. And it's like, I guess you could say that, like, if she suddenly remembered them and they were real, that she would still bring it up. But I think that her motivation is to seem like she had some reason to do this, that there was some sort of justification for it. And I think that's what other people are latching onto too.
Maybe, but I think that comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of what DDLG even is.
Yeah, but I just mean that, like, people are looking for an excuse to just, like, hate on me still. I feel like, you know, it's like, it's a lot easier, or people want to believe that they're real more than they can accept that they're fake.
And they also want to take the idea that they are real and extend that so far as to discredit the entire Daddyfesto and to still discredit everything that you are saying. And I guess just make it seems
And,
like if you deleted the message to these people, somehow you're still a pedophile. Somehow DDLG means something that it doesn't fucking mean. And somehow all
yeah,
these things make you a piece of shit. And that's
right,
none of that lines up anyways. And
right.
that it freaks me out. It like gets under my skin, and it makes me feel like I'm surrounded by crazy people when I hear that.
Well, and
So
it's like, and it's also that like, oh, Vosh and Xanderhal then like had justification for saying what they did, and it's like, oh, then like so they just were misled,
they're
or
DDLG.
they just, well, no, it's they're saying that like if the messages are real, then that like people use that to say that like, oh, so Vosh and Xanderhal just like it wasn't a conspiracy, they didn't have malice, they just were misled, basically. And I just think that that's ridiculous. Like it's clear that they said what they said to hurt me, to like get their audience to dislike me, to cause me some sort of harm. And like wait, people use this to just kind of say like, "Oh no, they were just repeating something that was untrue. Oh, they just misheard. They were just misinformed." And it's like, "No, even if these were real, they still engaged in malicious, shitty behavior." And people are just I don't know.
It's
I
not
think they
just
want
shitty; it's
an out.
violence. These things
Yeah.
amounted to violence against you. You lost your job twice.
I mean, it's horrible.
You lost your
It's
spaces that you
horrible.
exist in. We can talk about all day whether words are violence or not because somebody doesn't like how they sound. But when it causes people to harm your living, harm your ability to make a living, that causes you to be forced out of where you're at, that causes people to rally against you, this it's comparable to hate speech at that point. It has the same value of hate speech that makes hate speech something that we care about. It can actually turn into violent action against you, and it's
I think that it
crazy.
was. I mean, it was really just negative, and like all the stuff that people say is like so disgusting and so violent and so just crazy that like they have so much hate for me, and I guess it's not misplaced. I can understand why they do, but man, is it difficult.
I think
It's
it's not
nasty stuff.
misplaced if they believe the things that are said. If
Sure.
they believe the
Right.
narrative, it makes sense. Like, hey,
Yeah, totally.
if I think that you're sexting a 14-year-old, I'm probably not
Preying
going to
on
like you
children in our
anymore.
spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, hey, this is a
definitely.
space that I use. Like, maybe I have kids that go on to Discord too. Maybe that makes me feel unsafe. Maybe that means I want you off there. That makes sense. But once these things are revealed, full stop. Stop it. Quit trying to hold
Yeah.
on to your anger. You know what? People keep asking me, so I got to ask you real quick so the chat doesn't get flooded with it. Why is your clock upside down?
Because I'm dyslexic, so I have to read it backwards.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm
Fucking
kidding. I made that
dyslexia
up.
pro hacks.
It
Oh,
just it just
just
fell
for the
over.
sillies.
It doesn't even work.
Oh,
There we go.
it's an expected
Fixed it.
plot twist. You had me full on with the dyslexia thing. Um, so then that leads then that does leave a question. And so I'm gonna ask you a question. It's not bad faith. I need to ask this before I ask the next one.
Go ahead.
I hope that you can see that I am aggressively on your side here.
Sure.
Um,
Totally.
and I'm sure I already know the answer. I just don't want you to think that I'm being shitty. I have to. Did you
All right, you
delete
can ask me
messages
anything. I don't
because you didn't like there was DDLG in it and you didn't want to have that part like out in the world and it wasn't relevant to anything else?
No, I didn't delete any of the messages.
Fair enough. No need
I
to
and I
press.
didn't I didn't even know until recently that when you delete them, they delete for both sides.
I believe you on that too because I didn't know that. And I work
I
in
didn't.
IT
Yeah.
and I use
Yeah. I
Discord
had no
constantly.
idea.
Um
No idea.
so then the next question is, which I think I have a pretty good understanding of. I have a theory at least, but I need you to confirm it. Why would Evelyn ask about DDLG unprompted? I think there's a really reasonable explanation for this.
Yeah. They
Is there? Oh, go ahead. I'll
go
see
ahead.
if
Do
it
you want me to
matters.
answer it?
Um, Well, you know what? Let me before you say
Go
anything, let
ahead.
me ask you what I think is the most likely scenario, having not talked to you before, other than just asking you to talk to me. So in my head, there's two reasons why this would be the case. One is that you have talked about DDLG before in the Discord, which if it's the case, that's not a big deal. I think some people are just fucking stupid about what it means. I have gotten so many Tinder matches with women that say DDLG in their profile. That's why I know what it is. My wife and I are poly, and the first woman that we ever dated was like really into it, and like we had to find out what that was, and weren't really comfortable, and nothing ever really happened with that. But like, it's fine. I don't care. I didn't hold it against her. I wouldn't hold it against anybody who has that, because what it actually is fine. I think that you can role play however you want. You're not hurting anybody who's underage. Everything's above board. It's chill. And I will fight any fucking buddy who tries to tell me that DDLG is somehow inherently wrong. I'm supposed to be fighting with perspective philosophy about BDSM in general. He thinks it's wrong. Fuck that. If your kink's not hurting anybody to a way they don't want to be hurt and they're above age, I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't give a fuck. All right? It's fine. I'm totally fine with anything like that. So I was curious if you ever mentioned DDLG in any of the discords that you were in, or saying that's a thing that you're like a thing that you're into, or if people made jokes about you being into DDLG because of your name.
I don't know if the DDLG thing was specifically mentioned, but the day that I joined the Discord, people were like calling me like Extreme Daddy, or they were calling me like Daddy, and there was this like joke
It
where
would be
like
fun. I would do it too.
yeah, and so they were calling me Daddy and everything, and there's some evidence of that in the chat logs too, but I don't remember if DDLG specifically was mentioned,
Like, did you ever
but
play into it at all, just like for funsies? Because like I would.
I don't know, like I was in this space and like it was before people hated me, so yeah, I was trying to
Yeah,
get along. So I guess I like played into it, and in so much as that I'm not like, oh, don't call me that. I mean, but it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually your dad now. It's like I guess I played into it like I'm trying to get along with people, and that's kind of like why I engage the way that I do in the chat messages. Is like
sure.
I'm in this new space, I'm trying to get along. But as far as DDLG specifically, I feel like it was mentioned because the reason why Evelyn messaged me in the first place was to set me up to look bad. Like she knew from the beginning, this is an attempt to get messages from this person that make him look like a pedophile. And like I was just engaging like like they were just a random person from the Discord who DM'd me. Like so they said that because they had in their mind an idea of what they were going to use the responses for. So it's
Mhm.
like they're prompting me things that they think can get me into trouble. And then when they didn't get that, they just made it up. Or they made something like believable enough that was related to what they said when I didn't say what they exactly wanted me to say, or when what I said wasn't bad enough, they added to it.
So you don't think that there was any like DDL jokes made, or you didn't make any jokes, or nobody made any jokes about you,
It's hard to remember.
or like any
Like,
memes about it? Is it at least possible?
it's certainly possible. I mean, in the voice chat, like, it's possible that people brought it up or people were saying it, and it might even be like. But here's the thing: is like nobody, even when we had all of the individuals there from that night,
Mm-hmm.
even when we were all talking about it, even when we were going over each message individually, nobody's ever brought it up. Nobody's ever like said anything about this. Nobody's ever like highlighted how we were making jokes about it or that anything was said about it. There's been none of this has been relevant whatsoever until after the video came out. So it's I don't think that it was highlighted or brought up, but it may have been, but nobody's said
Sure.
anything up until this point.
So I'd be really curious then when Will goes to reinvestigate some of this stuff, if he can talk to the people. I know he has some kind of contact with the people that were involved on that Discord. I would strongly encourage him to find
Yeah,
out
we
if
were
any
all in
jokes.
a we've all done a
Maybe
stream
you weren't
together.
part of the maybe you weren't part of the joke. Maybe they used to just like say it because like your name has dad in it. Oh, by the way, I meant to ask this right out the gates. Are you a dad or is that just a joke? I'm dad.
Extreme Dad refers to my dad, who's like a very eccentric, very crazy guy. And I used to have like videos on my YouTube channel of us just arguing and fighting. And like that's
Ah.
why it's called Extreme Dad, because if you look in the YouTube thumbnail, that's actually a picture of my dad. So
Gotcha. That makes
that's
a
the
lot
lore
of
on that.
sense. And by the way, I feel like I kind of inadvertently high horsed the whole DDLG thing. I'll say right now, if I was ever dating a woman just on my own and not with my wife, and she was like, "That's what I'm into," I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd do it. I don't care. If that's what makes her happy, sure, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't really care either.
I will
I'm
die on
not
that
like
hill. Well, I
I'm
just
not
didn't want
trying
to
to like.
say when I was saying like when I said the stuff I said about it, and like I said that we met somebody and like we were in it, we were a little uncomfortable with it. Been a long time ago. I'm pretty fucking lax. I don't give a shit. I'm into making the person with happy. I would do it in a heartbeat. Don't give a fuck. I don't want to come off like saying like, well, it's okay if you are, but hey, not me. On
Yeah,
I will
totally.
die on that hill.
And I mean, it's like I mean, say like you're on your own, like because I kind of like had to Google search it and I just didn't really understand. But like
Jesus, I'm the only one who didn't have
the
to Google it.
but like the but like overall, like I mean I guess I don't really see an issue with it. I'm not trying to say like it's bad, and I honestly believe that like even even with these messages, they don't that it's not like clearly people have an issue with it and think that this is like evidence of pedophilia. But I also think that it's not that bad, and I think
It's
that people can be into it if they want to. I don't think that like it's evidence of anything really. But
it's
I didn't know what it
it's
was. I had
not.
to Google search it. And I still don't, I guess, to a certain extent.
It's
But
not even, it doesn't even imply necessarily that it's like father child roleplay. It's just the words that are used to describe the fetish.
yeah,
They
and I
just
think
like
there's
use the
another like
words.
there's a like mom
Yeah, there's
one too.
a mommy dom little boy.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
See? What a beautiful dynamic. And I encourage everybody to be into it if they want to be.
I'd probably be more inclined to that one myself. But like I said, I don't give a fuck. I will die on the hill that it's totally fine, and that I would
Yes,
participate if I had a partner who was interested in it in a heartbeat. Wouldn't think twice about it because it doesn't offend any part of me. Um,
yes, totally. I agree.
so just to recap, the things that got me so focused on clearing this up is that the streamers who talked about this so confidently said that it's difficult to fake a screenshot, and it's not. And
Right.
if anybody challenges me on that, I will. I will have them send
Mhm.
me a message, and then I will make it look like they said something terrible and send it right back to them in short time. I don't care. I may if people really push back on me about it, I'll make a tutorial video if you want to do it perfect, and I'll do it in real time so they can see if I wanted to do it perfect. I can make little grid lines and everything, so everything's perfectly perfect and easy to where anybody could have done it. Because
Well,
like
and
I never went that hard on it, but I know it's not going to be hard to do it, and I won't practice it before I show it on stream either.
we have evidence that people were so for example, like getting into it, I think that there's I'd have to look at the exact dates, but this guy Diocyclin or something like that goes to DGG and gets me banned from there.
Yeah.
Um, or I guess we can wait. I'll wait until your questions are done, and then we can go over the timeline of everything, and I'll explain my piece.
Okay.
Good.
And then the other thing that really gets me is that Evelyn's shown to be a pretty dishonest person.
Yes.
Well, she's sneaky. She's fairly conniving throughout the events that were shown
Yes.
in the Extreme Daddyfesto. And you, however, have been shown to be nothing but honest the entire time. You never even tried to throw Evelyn under the bus. You were polite to her the entire time. You have been above board about everything. So the idea here is that somebody who's been shown to be dishonest somehow deserves more credibility than somebody who has not been shown to be dishonest even once, because there is something that is
What do you
super
mean?
easy to fake, that there's a strong motivation to do. It just blows my fucking mind. It's motivated reasoning. And
Yeah, and
maybe some of these streamers have it wrong, but if they have it wrong, they have no business coming out with the confidence saying that it's super easy to fake it's super difficult to fake a Discord log. It's so fucking easy. And the only way to disprove it is by going to the logs, and they don't exist. She says they don't exist because they got deleted. I have to go with the person who's shown more credibility. This would be your first lie. This would not be her first time being dishonest. Full stop. What more do I need to
That's
know?
what's so upsetting with me and Will. It's like I've been, I literally sent Will my ID so that he could look and see if I like went to prison for like some sort of fucking bad beef. Like I literally have been so transparent, so open, and so for Will to be so dazed and just blown away by this fake screenshot, and for him to like just suddenly lose all faith or all fucking credibility live in front of everyone, it just really kind of was like, oh, and then to just not only believe it, but to just start openly kind of disrespecting me and attacking me and calling me all these names.
I
I
didn't
just
like
like
that
it
part.
was really, yeah, it really wounds me. It wounds me that like that here I am being this, kind of being transparent and open and like really trying to give him full access to this so that he can make something that like will be good for me, but also that it will be good for him. The idea that I would put him in a situation where like this would happen, or where I would be dishonest, or where I would like trying to conceal this and like make it so that like all of his hard work was invalidated. Like I don't think I come across as that type of guy, but I hope that I don't. And the fact that he believed that and that he was essentially saying that I am publicly, it just it did wound my ego a little bit, I will admit. Because Evelyn is the one who has been dishonest. Evelyn is the one who has lied about so much. Who has just, and there are so many of her lies in the video, in like, that have just become canon at this point, that it's really, really difficult. And I think that it boils down to the fact that, yeah, he just doesn't want to call Evelyn a liar.
Um, so I'm going to tell you what I think happened, and Will message something in the chat he'd like me to tell you too. And I think that it's good to hear, but I want you to hear what I think happened because I had a hard time getting through to Will when that was going on too. So I think what happened to Will is unfortunate but very human. I think he was caught off guard. He was disarmed by somebody who has a much larger audience to him and just feels like when you have nothing to say back, I think your brain just goes, "You fucked up, you're wrong." And you feel small and you feel trapped and scared. So his brain just went like, okay, I guess this is correct. And all of his actions that he took after that were based on that premise that he really didn't engage with to come to that conclusion, but I don't think he really had the conscious choice to. Because I've been in those kinds of positions before where somebody has made me doubt myself. Essentially, he was gaslit. Like, there was no real reason to believe it. And considering where he was at, like you said, he was showing his thing. He thought he was going to get to talk about how he made a great video that helped you out and maybe get some praise for it, which he absolutely deserves. You should ask him sometime to show you the DMs of what I said to him after the video. I was so proud of him for doing a really good thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, me
And
too. I
then,
mean, I sent him some stuff too, but it's like, it's hard to not feel like that was kind of a,
I know it doesn't change how it
destroyed.
feels. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're on the end of it, I can imagine how that feels. And I wasn't in Will's position, and I was really freaked out for you, and I was freaked out for him. I thought if what I'm saying holds true to him, I felt really sympathetic for both of you in that moment because like I said, I don't think he had a conscious choice in how he was going to take that information. I think that it was really unfortunate what he said to you. I just think that I just like I said, I think that he got that information and he couldn't not just say yeah because he had no way to combat it in that moment. Will
Yeah,
himself
and
has said, "Oh, go ahead," and I'll
go ahead,
read you
no,
what Will
finish
said.
up.
He said,
No, please.
"Tell Extreme Dad I was admittedly pissed, but yeah, I still think that Extreme Dad isn't a pedo. He still didn't do anything wrong, but it's like Extreme Dad was my friend, and I feel like he was holding out." So I think what he's saying
Well,
is that when that happened and he accepted it as the truth, that like you didn't give him the whole story to show, and then somebody said, "Here's another piece of the story that you should have had." And
and that's just like completely ridiculous. I mean, like the fact is that I sent him like he
I think he
I
scripted
sent him
this.
these messages ahead of time. Like I sent him these messages. I'd have to look at the exact date, but like I sent him Xander Hall like reading these messages. And then Xander Hall, the same thing I sent to you. The thing I sent to you were like
Xander Hall admits that it was that they were a fake that's been around for a while, and the
before
video was a
that.
fake.
Before that, in the other one where he's reading the messages, he
Hmm.
reads these out loud. Like he reads these DMs out loud. So I don't know how he was blown away by them when I sent them to him before, like a long time ago, you know. And so I just don't understand like how it was such a shock
Thank you very much, Nerds.
when he already knew about it. Like I already told him about it. You know, I can look at the exact date that I sent them to him, but it's like I sent them to him, so he's acting like this. Oh, he feels
Oh,
like
you
he
sent
didn't
him
have this
this
part of the
fake?
story. Yeah, I sent him the fake messages already. Yeah, he already
Oh,
knew about them. I
um,
can tell you the exact date. But hold on.
can you send a screenshot of you sending that? And there's a bit of contesting here. However,
It's
I'm willing to be
on
charitable on both
six
sides and
on
say that
6/15 on 6/15/2022. I sent him the messages.
okay. So Will, if you want to check that and come back and rebut to that, by all
It's
means.
Xander Hall reading them, and then I like later on. So when this all came out, like I told him, like yeah, Xander Hall already admitted that these were fake, and so then I sent him the clip of them being fake, and like he just kind of disregarded that.
In the clip that
But
you
the
sent
fact,
me, I'm pretty sure that I did see those messages.
yeah, that's the thing that Xander Hall says is fake. Like he's like, oh, the ones that I were sent were fake, and because he was sent like fake ones, and then he admits that yes, these aren't real, and then like this all happened a long time ago. This happened when this first came out. Like I don't understand why this is like a problem now when everybody was aware of these already.
It could have been the case. So you know what? I don't want to speculate. I just well, I can say this much. It could have been the case that because they weren't relevant when they were shown, 'cause like, oh, okay, these are just fakes. Be sure to look out for them. Because that's the case. If that was the case, I think it's really easy to dismiss them like out of your head and forget about them. Like, okay, that's not real. We're just gonna forget about it. And then when it comes back up at a crucial time, it can just have a different feeling. I really, from all the interactions that I've had with Will, and especially talking to him about this manifesto and talking to him about you prior to it coming out, uh, I would have a really hard time believing that he seen that and was like, oh, and like the gears turn and like, oh, it makes sense. Fuck Extreme Dad. He's just trying to dick me. I mean, I guess it could be the case. He could be somebody completely different than I think him to be. But I think that what I would encourage you to do in this situation is try to understand that sometimes people, and I know even yourself and myself, sometimes we get upset and we say things that we shouldn't say. And we feel things that we were probably
I don't
wrong to
think so.
feel.
I don't think that you like because to me like if somebody says that to me in person, I knock their teeth out. Like if somebody really is gonna disrespect me like that in person, like I'm gonna yeah like and I told them 3 times not to. So it's like yeah I give you 3 warnings. If you're gonna continue to just openly because then so which is it? So basically you're treating me like that publicly. You're telling people fuck you, fucking all this stuff. Like you're disrespecting me publicly, and I do nothing. So now that's just okay. So like you can treat me however you want, and I just accept it. Like at what point do I draw the line? Like so I'm just like a bitch who just you can tell me like to suck your dick. You can tell me I'm a fucking liar. You can tell me like all this stuff publicly in front of everyone, and I just accept it, and then I stay friends with you, and then like we're still cool, and like there's not a problem. Like what do you mean? That's who I am. That's
No.
that's who I am.
What
You
I'm
know, and so
saying,
it's like but that's who he's telling me I am when he does that. So it's like you have to understand like he puts me in a
thanks for acting
position
shitty.
where he
Finish
does
watching
that
my
stuff.
stand up.
He's basically saying I can treat you like this. This is okay because he's doing it publicly. He's saying, see everyone, this is how I treat him. This is all right. This is fine. You can treat him this way. That's what he's telling people. My friend does that. A friend of mine does that to me. I don't think so.
So I would say that even when I've gotten bad information, and I have definitely said things to people that I care about that I wish that I had
Yeah,
not.
but does a friend
Wait,
of
wait,
mine
wait.
treat me that way?
It
Does a
doesn't
friend of
excuse.
mine
It doesn't
treat
excuse
me
how I
like that?
treat. It doesn't excuse how I treated those people, and I've been lucky enough most of the time when that's happened that they've forgiven me. But I don't necessarily think that I'm owed that forgiveness either. I
And it
think
doesn't
that
matter. Like people try and tell me, like, oh, he was mad. Oh, he believed this. Like, first of all, he had no reason to believe it whatsoever.
well,
There's
even
no
I even
absolutely
said
no
that.
reason to believe it. Yeah, and but besides that, even if it were true, even if he believed it, even if I had said that and fucking lied about every single thing that I'd ever told him, you don't treat people that way. There are certain things, certain ways that you don't treat people, and especially publicly, especially in front of other people. I don't care how mad you are. I don't care how much you dislike someone. If you treat them with utter disrespect publicly, then you are saying to people, and they just accept it, then you're saying to people, this is okay. This person can be treated like this, and they won't do anything about it. They're a bitch. And I just don't, stand for that. I just don't, I don't see how anybody could expect anything out of me if they're going to treat me that way.
Okay, 1 minute. Will has asked me to watch the clip on stream. Are you saying that the source of that, you know what? Hang on. Let me, I gotta pull you off of here so that way I don't... Yeah, sure. I know. What I'm saying is the clip that you sent me in DMs, that's the Xander Hall one, right?
Yeah, the one with the orange background. I'm gonna go get a drink while I'm off stream.
Okay. That's the one that has the same message, right? Is what you're saying?
Be 14 and was very open that
okay.
that they were pretending to be or that they were 14 according to.
Give me 1 second. I should have pulled this. I see. It's a VLC recording. I have to download it.
It's not out here.
You fucking right.
Oh shit.
Be 14 and was very open that they were pretending to be or that they were 14 according to as far as he would know. But he also was like hitting on a 14-year-old in Destiny's server. Destiny got into a fucking argument with
I'm watching
him.
It right now.
Also, I literally don't care what you say, ExtremeDad. You're literally retarded. I like you're a liar. You're dox people. I don't care what you say. I'm just gonna have you blocked. But I am gonna show my chat these logs.
Wait. How the fuck is a 14-year-old in Destiny's server? The age.
Okay, let's see. This one here says...
Make sure you watch the other one, too.
I will. NVM, I guess people don't want me to expose pedos and masked off me.
Cut off is 15.
Can I get it?
People lie about their age. Okay.
Oh, he's gonna...
So, says, what do you want to do? I'm pretty sub. He says, I mean, they don't call me daddy for no reason. And I'd break every chair in the world just so you could sit on my face. But most of all... I live for that DDLG shit. What's DDLG?
Well, just to clarify, on this screenshot, he says, but most of all, I live that DDLG life. Not what Xander Hall said. I'm reading it right here.
Daddy's dumb little girl. I'm not going to explain it to you. You're on your own, lol. You okay with the fact that I'm younger than you? Sure. We're just talking, obviously. True.
That... I 100% could be mistaken here. 1,000% could be mistaken here, but I think that's the one. Let me just check real quick. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I actually know where I can find this really easily. And then we'll finish up the video. I just want to compare to see if it is it or not. Let's see here. Shit. Let's see here. We got that. I'm pretty so that. We have the same profile picture. And then it swaps. Daddy dumb little girl. Not gonna explain it to you. You're on your own. You okay with the fact that I'm younger than you? Sure, but just talking, obviously. This does look like the same one.
Yep.
To me.
It is.
Oh yeah, how about that, Laska? Sanders Hall had the same follower goal that I have right now. It's funny. Thanks for pointing that out. It does appear to be the same thing to me. So what Will had said prior to that was the face. This is Jesus. Wow. I did watch that. What the fuck? I fucked up really. That is annoying. And then he prompted me to watch it on stream. I want to make sure that from his own words that he's saying that that you're correct and he's wrong, because that's what it sounds like, but I'm not going to put words in his mouth. Maybe he meant something that I didn't. I even made sure that, like, because your profile picture changed in between and they matched that as well. Oh, wait. I still have to finish that video. I want to make sure, just for context, that this is the one that you said that he said it was fake,
14
right?
and was very open that they were pretending to be or that they were 14 according to as far as he would know. But
Are you asking me?
he also was like hitting on a 14-year-old in Destiny's server.
Yeah, did he say in the first 10 seconds here that it was fake?
He says in the other clip that it's fake. I don't think it's in the first 10 seconds.
Destiny like got into a
So not in this video?
Also, I literally don't
Wait.
care. I'm pretty.
Okay,
In the second video I sent you,
the
it
actual,
says it's
like,
fake.
screenshot.
Okay. We'll finish this one up then.
Like a phoenix, I have risen from the ashes. Okay, that's some other shit.
More
Okay.
of
Second
that one,
video.
that was some cringy ass shit.
Yeah.
I know, just for the sake of...
Basically, it was
presenting
I get
the
it.
whole
Yeah, go
thing.
ahead and ban him. Pedo shit is be 14 and was.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want anybody to turn around and say after the end of this, well, Elder Jazzy didn't finish that clip. There was something in it. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody spinning
totally.
with bullshit. Okay.
I want to go watch Vosh.
I gotta download this one real quick. Damn,
Sure.
my internet speed is sexy. Already done.
Yeah, in this
I want
video
to
he
go
says
watch
that
Vosh.
it's fake.
What's that?
In this video he says that the DMs he read were fake.
Oh, gotcha. You know what? I'm gonna put you back on camera. There's no... Oh, wait, you're not back yet. Okay. So we're gonna watch this, and then I'll put you back on cam.
I want to go watch Vosh play Fall Guys.
Perfect.
ExtremeDad, thank you for the $5. As I told Cancel Couture about how I was innocent the day before your debate, 2 hours in, you randomly bring me up and walked it all back. Why? Because apparently screenshots came out showing that the screenshots of you apparently being a pedophile were actually fake. So I retracted that, as I have months ago, back when I found out about that. So as far as I'm aware, you're not a pedo. So good for you, my dude, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, so yeah. There we go. Thanks for the $5. Illusion Cubes Vids, thank you for the Illusion Cubes Vids, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Says, imagine being a white name, weird champ. True, if you're white, you're both straight and white in real life, if you're white in chat, so yikes, not a good look. Kinda canceled. White names in chat canceled. And ExtremeDad, thank you for the $2. Says, you're going to continue to diss me? I don't know how I'm dissing you, my dude. Keep malding in chat, I guess. But thank you for the money. I will use that money to buy things that make my stream better, or pay my rent so I can live, and that also makes my stream better. Thank you, though. Oh yeah, by the way, Jaina Rose, I don't know when I'm streaming tomorrow. I want to go watch Vosh play Fall Guys.
Okay. Oh, sorry, 1 minute.
So
Okay, I'm gonna bring you back. Yeah. Yeah, Lasco, woof woof.
what'd you think?
It looks like that's the same thing.
They are
And
the
unless there's another series of screenshots that Xander Hall accused you of being a pedo for, that seems like he is saying that he has information that leads him to believe that it is not true. And I would have a very hard time believing that he would ever say that unless it benefited him. And it would only benefit him to say that if he's admitting that he was wrong because he knew that it was wrong and didn't want to come out looking even worse by sticking to his guns, like Fausch did.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the messages were fake. These are old. These came out at the time. And I think for some reason, like, it came out, I don't know how it, like, came out, but, like, it came out that, like, these were fake. This version of them were fake, the ones that he read on stream. And then, so, like, he says that. He says, like, these were fake. And, you know, it's like, that's why these are old. I don't even know why. And that's exactly it. Like, Evelyn knows that, like, up to this point, while we were making the video, if she had said, hey, wait, there are these fake DMs, or there are these DMs, like, you weren't actually the one to bring it up. And then I would have said, no, that's not true, and we would have spent time going over it. We would have gotten to the bottom of it. We would have figured out, like, no, these are fake. And, like, but when she brings it up now, after the fact, because she just forgot up until this point, then it's like this like big deal because it's like, oh, the video that you put out isn't true. Actually, there's some falsehood in it. And it's like, it's just a game to her. I mean, like, she knows what she's doing. She knows, like, and it's just fake. I mean, it's like it's fake. I don't know what more people want from me, but it's fake, and I think that it's so fake, and there's so like much evidence that it's fake that it's kind of upsetting to.
In all honesty, all I need to know is how easy it is to do, how that you have never been shown to be a liar, if we're excluding this, in which I am, and she has been shown to be deceptive.
That's what I'm trying to say is that it's so upsetting. Like it's like so upsetting that like we're even that we take this at face value and we just accept it to be true, when
yeah,
so much of what she said is fake or false rather.
I mean,
You know,
I think
but-
it's worth talking about it because like it had existed.
Definitely.
I think it's worth mentioning, but like I can't imagine any like if this was a court case, she already has no credibility. You have never
Right.
lied on the stand.
Right.
Somebody
And
in
that's
chat
why,
said
like,
they
just
don't trust
between
you
me and
because
Will-
you're drinking A&W. He's a Barks man.
I know, for real. Tasty though.
To be fair, I do like Barks. It has a little spice in it. But A&W's okay if you're at the restaurant.
Yeah, it's smoother. It's a lot smoother, I think.
It's true. I like that burn in the throat. I think that and it's really crazy too that even if that was real, it doesn't do anything, and somehow it seems like this is overshadowing the entire project.
That's exactly what it. That's exactly it, and that's the thing, and that's why. That's
couldn't sit still
why
with it.
people are latching onto it. Because they think like, oh, because like normally they would feel bad, like it's like a compelling story, or at least it's like it's a shitty thing to do, and it's like they're sitting there like, oh wow, like this actually Vosh actually did that, Sandro actually did that. Oh wow, this was kind of shitty, and like Evelyn's sitting there like, oh my gosh, this looks kind of bad for me. But then they just are like,
I wouldn't want to get grouped in
Oh,
with
well.
Bush either.
they're just like, oh well, see, there were these messages that he lied about. He actually deleted these, or like, hey, look, he mentioned DDLG, and then people are just like, oh, okay, well then it's fine. Well, see, it's fine. Like, if he lied about that, then it's fine.
Right. And
That's what people are trying to say,
I would
or that's how people feel.
And I'm kind of hoping to prove too that nobody actually gives a fuck about DDLG by saying what I said. Because if they have any issues with me saying that I would participate in that if I had somebody, then come at
Well,
me.
it's not-
Come talk to me about it.
It's not
Because-
even that they have an issue about it. They just are looking for any excuse to just kind of go along with the original narrative of like, oh yeah, fuck this guy. And
Mantha.
you know, I think that that's why, because people want to believe that the DMs are real, because not because they have a problem with DDLG, not because they think that like, oh, that somehow makes me a pedophile, but because they want to excuse the kind of like hate and harassment and all the behaviors that people have engaged in up to this point. So it's like, if I said that, then somehow people are able to justify everything that's happened, and they're just looking for a reason to justify it. People don't have a problem with DDLG. People don't think that there's any sort of evidence of me being a pedophile. But it's okay to call me one if I lied about the messages. People, like, that's why people are latching onto this.
Well, that's why I'm taking such an honest and firm stance on the DDLG thing, because if they don't come after me and tell me why that makes me a pedophile, they need to shut the fuck up about calling you that. They need to shut up.
Well,
They have no
and the
ground to
thing is,
stand
like-
on. They have to admit that what you're saying is true, that they're just using it as an excuse. And I ain't
And
having that. Tell me I'm wrong first. He's saying he's not into that. I'm saying I would be. I could be. It's fine. I'd try it.
It's the thing is like, it's almost tangential. It's almost not even important. Like the DDLG thing, like people don't even. It's not like people mention that when they're like, oh, these DMs are real. It's like, they're not like, oh, these DMs are real, you're actually a guy who's into DDLG. They're saying like, oh, these DMs are real, you're a liar, and everything that happened to you is okay. It's
Right.
not, the DDLG thing is like kind of tangential. It's not even important, really.
But I hear people using it like that, and it pisses me off.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that at all.
Because like, you're wrong, and then you're wrong about why you're wrong, and then you're also taking people who like they're using something that other people do, which is fine, to try to justify making attacking you too. It's just so many wrongs stacked on top of each other, and I just can't deal with it. Like if that's
Yeah,
how if that's
it
how they're
does get
gonna be,
frustrating.
fine. But you have to get through me, because I'm saying like I do it. So fucking cut off. If you want to criticize ExtremeDad, then find a fucking real reason. Tell me that
Yeah.
you're convinced that the screenshots are real and that you don't like him because you think he's dishonest. Fine, but I'm still going to challenge you on why you think they're real. I'm still going to say, why are we believing somebody who's known to lie instead of somebody who's not been known to lie ever prior to this? Like this is his
And I think,
one-time line. You're basing it on a super, super, super sussy screenshot that came out at the most beneficial time for the person who supposedly found it.
yeah, it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like, I know that the screenshots are fake. I think I've proven that the screenshots are fake, but there are always going to be people who believe it because it's the more compelling argument. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take
It's
much
not
for
compelling.
people to believe.
It feels
Well,
better too.
it's compelling to people who hate me. Like, the people who hate me require very little to convince
It
them that it's
requires
true.
motivated reasoning in order to accept it, bare minimum. Even motivated reasoning, like Jesus Christ, it's painfully clear that there's a much more credible person and there's another person who stands to gain from lying right now by doing something effortless. It's free. They wouldn't have to spend a penny to do this. And I've had so many
Right,
people
and
tell me that my way is the more difficult way to fake a Discord log. And I
Well,
thought
and
my
it's
way was
like-
really, really easy.
And we still haven't explained like so many different things, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, did you have other questions? Do you have anything else you want to know? Because I was gonna go over the timeline of events for why I think, or how I think that this was created.
So I have one other question for you, and then I absolutely want to hear your timeline. But my
ahead.
question is that would you like to be a moderator in my Discord? It's not very big right now. I just added some emotes to it. They're all based on my dog because she's super expressive. They're fucking phenomenal, I promise. And I'm working really hard to grow the channel, and I'm not that good with Discord. I'd really appreciate your feedback on what I could do to make it better too.
Would love to. Thank you. I appreciate
You got
that.
it.
So I
You are a
I
moderator.
think that the
sir.
yes score. So I think that that when people talk about why these would be created, why would you make this DM, why would you do this when it's like not even that bad, why, and I think I have an answer to that. I've been thinking about it, and if you go into DGG and you search my name, you'll find that this guy Dios whatever. He went in and he said that like I was essentially preying on minors and that I should get banned. And
Which I
they
assume
were
is
like,
based on the old allegations, yeah.
they're based on basically on the thing that happened with Evelyn. This was right about when that happened, and this person was one of the individuals in the Discord server where it happened originally, and just somebody who really disliked me.
Sure.
And so he went to DGG, and he kind of like was like, yeah, you need to ban this guy. He's preying on minors. And so I get banned, but I message Destiny, and I'm like, hey, this was like this was not real. Destiny essentially says like somebody said you were preying on minors. I'm like, that's not true. And I like show him kind of like evidence that it's not true. And Emma, the person who banned me, essentially asked him like, hey, do you have any more screenshots of this? Because like he originally says, I have tons of proof, tons of evidence. And then they're like, do you have any screenshots of it? And he literally sends just a clip of me saying, how old are you? And Evelyn saying 14. And that's the only screenshot that he sends, right? And this is still in DGG. Like, you can go and see, like, and he says, I think that should be enough. And, like, it obviously isn't, like, enough. And so I think that he, after having kind of been embarrassed about that, and he kind of, like, tries to, like, fish for, like, more things that he could say, but none of it really sticks. And I think that he went back. I think that that's the same exact day that this screenshot was created. And I think that he basically was kind of either embarrassed by, or he saw that it didn't work. He saw like, oh, okay, we're going to need more. And he went back and they just, made a few fake screenshots. I think there were some other ones too. But they just kind of added things to what I said in order to make it seem just a little bit worse, And the DDLG one, adding me saying like, oh, I lived that DDLG life, like I'm a daddy and like I want a little girl with, or something like that. That's enough to compel most people, and it's just a little bit extra to make it seem like I'm preying on, like I'm looking for little girls to prey on. You know, it's just like a little bit extra, and I think they added that because in DGG they didn't have enough, and then they went back and just made it sound worse because they realized that what actually happened wasn't bad, and then they just lied about it and added to it and did things that would compel people into believing this horrible mistruth.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I don't need a lot of convincing to understand that sometimes shitty internet trolls get super mad about things they don't fully understand and spread lies about people. I've seen that
But
happen.
I just think that like there's a distinct. People ask me why would they make a fake screenshot? Why would they do it? And I think that because I was unbanned from DGG that same day, I think that it showed them like this is why.
I make
No,
it for
I
the
don't think that it
lulz.
was. I don't think that it was for the lulz though. I think that it
Well,
was
I'm
a
saying
distinctly
that's
motivated.
That's like the
No, I
floor.
think
Like it can be that low, and like you can have more of a reason. But if the floor is just for the lulz, then it doesn't fucking matter why. You can do it for any reason. It's that easy.
This wasn't for the lulz though. It was not. This
Thank you
was
for a
people.
modal
These
mix.
people were not
Thank you for a
kidding. I mean, they were dead serious. They were motivated by a vile hatred for me, like a total hatred for my political beliefs, and like they saw me as the enemy who needed to be destroyed. I mean, like they literally like were gleeful at the idea of making people believe that I was a pedophile because they knew that it would make other people hate me like they did. And so I mean, they weren't laughing about it. This was a motivated thing, but it wasn't for the lulz, that's for sure. And I think by adding that,
I wasn't saying that they were doing it for the lulz. I was saying that like if that's a reason why somebody might do it, then like even asking why, it can be literally any reason. If it's so effortless that you can do it just to like goof on a friend, you can do it for any reason, right?
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it
I
does
just
seem
don't.
like they
I
did
think
have
that kind of
a real
lesson.
motivation to do it too. I think you're
Yeah.
right, and maybe I should be a little bit more careful when I say that.
I just think it lessens the
I see what you're saying.
compelling, yeah. Because if they're like, oh, we just did it as a joke, like, oh, that's not so bad. When that's not why they were doing it, and it's not in any way like nobody was doing this to get a laugh. Like they were doing it so that people would hate me and alienate me and like, attack and harass me.
I understand. Yeah, I think you have a really rare instance of where people take things online too far, and I think it's really hard for people who aren't in like interacting with somebody who's had it happen to them to understand that sometimes this shit, when it gets bad enough, it leaks into your real life. It can actually ruin your fucking life. I think that a lot of people think, oh, I'm just fucking around on Discord, or maybe even worse to say, fuck that guy. I don't give a shit anyways. And I just think that it doesn't compute to the other people who are just watching this happen. So I understand what you're saying, that this guy was, he's a piece of shit. He doesn't like you. Maybe he thinks that the stuff that you did before was bad, but people didn't care enough, or whatever.
Well, and this individual, by the way, now he suddenly has he has brain cancer now, and he can't remember anything about the event whatsoever. You can't ask him about it. You can't he has no recollection of anything that he did or anything that he said, and yeah, he can't be questioned on it whatsoever. So,
well, that's pretty fucked. Kia Cat.
Yeah, it's pretty
Aren't
convenient.
you my number one YouTube fan?
And when I tried to point that out, everybody shit on me because quote unquote he has brain cancer, and apparently we can't even say that that's mighty convenient. But it is mighty convenient that he suddenly can't remember anything that he said or anything that he did. Yeah,
let me see those brain scans, buddy.
I know, right?
I mean, it's okay for bad things to happen to you, but like if he gets pressed on a question, let me see them brain scans, buddy.
And that's the thing is, it's like
he already shouldn't be a liar.
All of these people have engaged in all this bad behavior, and if you you can't call Evelyn a liar. You can't question this guy about the horrible things that he did or said. And yet, you can just openly call me whatever you want and just treat me like shit publicly, and I just have to fucking take it. It's just a really interesting dynamic that we've built here,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's interesting.
Real quick, Will's back. Will, was I correct in my assessment that you seen that and you agree that is the same message? And that, like,
Yeah,
somehow it just got missed? I just want to make sure that's what he was saying. Also, I'm going to call Evelyn a liar. Because, I mean, she's already been shown to lie. Like, it's not a, oh. I think that, like, she's demonstrably a liar. Even if you think the screenshot's real, she's still a liar. And I think you're stupid for thinking the screenshot's real since she is a liar and it's easy to do. Okay, Will said yes, that he missed this. So I have a question from somebody, and I kind of teased them and said they had to be a follower for me to ask questions from them. Because following's free. I never ask anybody to subscribe to me. But they ended up subscribing. It's not the most comfortable question. Are you okay answering an uncomfortable
Yeah,
question?
you can ask me whatever you want.
Okay, well,
Don't
hey,
feel bad about
I care about people. I don't have to know. I don't have to know your whole story to care about you, but I do know your whole story,
No, you can ask me,
and I
you
do
can ask me
care.
whatever you want. Go ahead.
So, Revolt Rise said, if there is a lull or transition point where you can work it in, which is this point, can you ask ExtremeDad what his charges were for the prison sentences he served? There are conflicting claims being circulated to further discredit ExtremeDad. I didn't even know you went to prison. I've been to jail a couple times, but it was always for not having money.
I got charged with 2 counts of forgery, two counts of criminal possession of a forged instrument, and 1 count of identity theft.
Okay. And you did your time?
Yeah, I did. Indeed.
You didn't rat nobody out to get out?
What?
I said you didn't rat nobody out to get out? You just did your time?
No, I just did my time.
Well, hey.
I
we all make mistakes, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it wasn't that bad.
No, prison
I
beats
basically
jail.
was jail is for less than 1 year. Prison is a long-term facility for sentences that are over 1 year.
Yeah, you can technically serve 2 years in jail if you do them concurrent, 2 1-year sentences back to back. But prison, you get to do a lot better stuff. You get to have
prison is
you get to have a fake life. In jail, you just get to sit in a box. I've been to
and
jail
in prison, like
6 times
I made the
for not
best of
having
it.
money. Yeah, you can have a fucking job in prison. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's great. They both fucking suck dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, that's fair enough. And look, you didn't even hurt nobody.
No, I had basically was buying and selling. I basically like bought and sold like counterfeit goods, like purses or watches or whatever, shoes mostly. And yeah, I just had like a little business buying and selling them, and then like, yeah.
You just trying to make money. Was
basically,
it lucrative?
yeah. Maybe. I mean, like, yeah, it definitely was. But I mostly just had like a fascination with the stuff. And then I got charged with identity theft because I had a fake ID with my real name and my real photo on it, but just with a different birthday.
Oh my god.
I know. And they always like do that, like they trump up the charges and whatnot. But it is what it is. Certainly nothing. And I gave this, and Will was able to look this up. I gave my ID to him so that he could like Google search me to make sure I didn't go down for any bad beef. Because I understand that, like, because
I gotta read that.
Irish Laddie Vosh on Discord said that that he caught me being a child predator. I sent you a picture of this. He caught me being a child predator, and that was probably what I went to prison for. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not. Never been a fucking never had any sexually based offenses. Never will. I'm not a fucking weirdo, as we've proven time and time again. Feels like.
Revolt Rise thanked both of us. Thanked me for asking, you for answering. And a more lighthearted one. Laska wants to know if your fake ID was making you older or younger.
Older. Just I had a girlfriend who was like older than me, and I wanted to like get into bars with her, and so yeah.
Gotcha. And this is just personal, just because that's kind of interesting. What's a forgery instrument?
Instrument is just something that like is essentially something that something that you know is fake, you're trying to pass off as something that it's not, basically that it's real.
Oh.
So, for example, like because I had like even though this isn't really true, like the people who
So the charges
bought
for
my
selling
stuff,
it, the other charge for selling it, and then actually having your possessions another charge.
right, and so basically like it's not that like because for example, like because the logos or whatever are representing like Louis Vuitton, but it's not an authentic Louis Vuitton thing. That's a forged instrument.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well that's stupid. Like I said, I've been in jail and I've seen people with worse crimes than that by far.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. But these days they'll lock you up for whatever. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I hope you didn't get too bad for that.
I mean, I got the maximum sentence, that's for sure, but, you know, I did about, like, 7.5. Which
Did
is
you
like
say 8.5?
7.5. I got it. I
Did you
got
get good
the
time?
maximum sentence. Yeah.
Christ. I just want to be clear. I did all of them were for money except for one. I got an MIP when I was 18 because somebody took beer out of their own garage. His mom's boyfriend found out it was gone, called the cops, found out it was us, dropped the charges and city press charges. I served a weekend, and then I couldn't pay the fees for it 3 times, and then child support for the kid that I lived with. I've also had some bad times with the law. If you go to jail for child support, you don't get good time.
Really? I didn't know that.
And they keep charging you for child support while you're in there. If you go to prison because you murder somebody, they stop charging you child support. But if
I didn't know that.
Child support, they keep racking up. Yeah, like my kid lives with me now. Yeah,
That's crazy.
This is the county we lived in. The guy was like notorious for putting people in there. There was one guy who served 10 months every year for child support because he stacked them end to end. Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah, not in a long time though. It's hard to find jobs sometimes. Well, yeah,
Definitely.
I think that's I if anything, I can like empathize with like you're just selling fake shit. Like, oh, okay, I don't care. You're trying to make some money. You're taking money out of the pocket of people who don't need the fucking money. Whatever.
And it's honestly like I had this like almost fetishization, yes, of it, where like I became really interested in like and just like obsessed with the different like fakes and different like types and just the amount of creativity and quality and just I became very obsessed with getting good counterfeit stuff. And it was more of a hobby than anything else. But
It sounds
yeah,
really interesting, actually.
it was. I find it very interesting.
Until you talked about it, I wouldn't really consider it. That does sound really interesting. I collect magic cards, and I bought a couple fakes because I was buying some really high end shit, things that cost $400, $500, $600, and I wanted to see how good the fakes were and how I can figure out which ones are fake, and which ones are real. And I got really into that because like if I'm spending $550 on a card, you better believe I'm checking that shit out before I buy it. Or if I'm getting it mailed in, I'm checking it out hardcore for the next day and a half, making sure so I can send it back and get my money back if something's up. So yeah, I get that, and it's really interesting how many steps people can take and the ways in which they can replicate. Just like even just getting the cardboard right on a magic card is something as simple as this is pretty fucking hard to do, and then to get like the print right or like there's like red dots that are like you can only see with the jeweler's loop on here. The lengths people have gone to do it, and then I just found out like 2 days ago that the most of them that are faked are $30 to $50. Like what the fuck? If you're gonna fake cards and go through all that money getting the equipment to do it, I'm printing $500-$600 cards all day. Get in and out of there. What are you talking about? I mean, not that I do it, but that's what I would do if I was in the mindset to do it. People are crazy.
Totally, and I mean it's like, and just the that different craftsmanship, the love, the quality, the different ways that people just like engage in this like really intense creation. It's very interesting to me. Very interesting. Very artistic.
I agree. On that note, because I bought a foil one. They sent it for free with it, and if they made a mistake when they were doing it, and there's a little marker that shows like non-counterfeits. The sticker was good, but it was a little cockeyed. If they didn't do that, literally indistinguishable. And that freaked me the fuck out. I was like, oh no, that's
a lot of the stuff
scary.
that I had was totally indistinguishable. I mean, you'd have to be an expert to tell that it was fake. And at that point, it's like, is it real? At that point, it's almost like, oh, my bad.
And what makes this real then?
At that point, yeah, if you
Oh, to be
if
clear,
it's
that
so
came in
good
with
that
the
it's
other
like
fakes.
you can't tell.
They were trying to market the foils to me. I just wanted so I could compare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, what actually makes this Louis Vuitton bag so valuable? Is it just because like it came out of his factory? Is it because the perceived value, and if it's looks close enough like it, like would anybody even care? I think it prompts some pretty interesting philosophical questions on its own.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you have more timeline for me?
Well, I mean, as far as the creation goes, I mean, after they, on that day where the DGG stuff happened, and just like with everything that went down, that was kind of quickly forgotten about. Because in the end, so they make these screenshots or whatever. They go to DGG and they're like, okay, this isn't enough, right? And then they're like, okay, we need more. But then Hyena, so they send these over to Hyena, right? And but then Vosh and Xanderhall just lie about it. They just make up stuff that it's just like they did with the screenshots. They just made up stuff by adding this stuff. But then Xanderhall and Vosh also just make up stuff beyond that. So it was kind of like agreed upon from the beginning that like what actually happened is not what we're going to say. We're going to just fabricate more and more because Xanderhall fabricates if we watch the entire version of that clip, which I sent to Will, but it's like 4 hours long. He says stuff, and if you watch the clips that I have of Vosh, they just fabricate everything. They say that Vosh says that like.
Oh, you cut out.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, buddy.
They say all these horrible things, but the point is that like, so it was quickly forgotten about this like DM, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if it had actually happened, whether or not I had deleted it, it would be present in your mind. Like Evelyn would not have like forgotten about it. It was the fact that they fabricated it and then just it was never relevant again that it was easy to be forgotten about. If this had actually taken place, if these were the actual DMs, then you would remember. I remember distinctly how I felt at each moment of the DMs, right? Like when it was actually happening. I remember each moment, each thing, what I was saying, how I felt, and then it's just because like they made up a few versions, they fabricated a few DMs, they sent these out, and then they were never even used really outside of like because Vosh and Xanderhall continued to fabricate it. That it was easy to forget about until now. So it's like you have a clear a reckless disregard for the truth. That so many things, so many different lies were said about it, that it's hard to even remember which is which or what is important or what isn't. So then Evelyn was able to quote unquote forget about it until now. And then suddenly these resurface where she goes back and she looks and she's like, oh yeah, remember these? See, like this is actually true. And I think that it's absurd, asinine, and ridiculous to think that you could forget about the actual version of events, the actual DMs, that you could forget that I had deleted them until now. You would remember if I had said what I said differently. Like if I had said something different from what I had actually said, you would remember that. You would remember what I said. Like you wouldn't forget about that. That would have been a much bigger deal if I had actually said it. There just wouldn't have been this.
what you were
What?
accused of saying. If somebody said, "I'm living that DDLG life,"
Yeah,
I
if
already
that
know what it
had
is, and I
been
would never forget that for the rest of my life because
right.
that's
If you
fucking funny
even
and
if I had
crazy to
deleted
hear.
it, you would not forget about it. Like you would not have forgotten. You wouldn't have failed to see like this. It totally changes everything. It changes everything. Like in as far as so much as like the flow of the conversation, everything. It changes everything. You would not have forgotten about it until now. That's an excuse. They're just trying to like this is a lie. It's absurd. It's asinine and it's ridiculous and you know, I just feel like it makes no sense except for it being fake.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that anybody who disagrees with that, I will argue you. I will help Extreme Dad argue you. I I I have zero tolerance for this bullshit. Um, and I think if you talk to Will in the future, he will tell you how animate uh, I was immediately after this supposed screenshot came out. Why?
I'm listening.
Uh, I was irate. I stayed up for like
Sorry,
another
I
hour
turned
and a
my
half,
camera
two
back on. I was
hours,
just way too hot where I was.
and I was just not okay about it. It didn't make any sense to me. The first night, I couldn't really put all the pieces together, but as soon as I woke up in the morning, it was all immediately obvious to me. I was just too tired to figure it out, and not even because it was late, just because I had a long day, I think, and it was a long and emotional day. As soon as I woke up in the morning, I was on watching that panel, messaging Will while he was on the panel, despite the fact that that's kind of a shitty, rude thing to do. I couldn't contain how upset I was on your behalf and on Will's behalf because at the same, like, not just you, they're also basically saying, like, hey, you fucked up with your video. We're not blaming you for it, but you did fuck up. Like, there's two people that really shouldn't be getting thrown under the bus because somebody decided to lie about a screenshot. And it just
And yet,
doesn't make sense.
and
They look so confident.
this is distracted so much from the real point, and the real point being that like what Vosh and Xanderhal did was entirely fucked up and wrong. And like there's no excuse for it. There's nothing that you could bring up. There's nothing that you could say that I said that would make that okay. Because at the end of the day, like they knew what they were saying was untrue. They knew that they had no evidence of it, and they said it anyway. And I think that that's just awful. I mean, it's heinous and it's cruel and it was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary, and they did it anyway. They did it because and on top of that, they doubled down on it. Like I asked Vosh to just say enough is like I told him enough is enough, but people are going to do what they're going to do. I told them enough is enough. I told them that like I asked them to say that it was a lie, and they doubled down and they said like, oh well, nobody's directing hate your way, but it's very clear that they are, and I think that they're just
To be fair, Vosh wouldn't say that like anything was wrong by any metric ever. Like he can twist his
true. Yeah.
worldview to convince himself that like Hitler was right. Like he's said some of the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard in terms of like justifying ridiculous positions. So I don't
And he's
think
totally
that
okay with lying about it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that you could even convince him to like think that he's wrong because if he's saying that shit, I think he uses it throughout his whole life to justify everything that he does is always right.
Yeah.
There's no way you can get that far in delusion in front of that many people and say things like that and not have it seep into your own life. It's not about whether like what's true or not true. It's that he gets to decide what's true and not true, which is fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And anyway, well, uh, is there anything else that you want to go over? I want to touch on what the person said in chat really quick, but I want to make
So
sure that we're
I do encourage you to touch on that, but before you go, and I'm getting a little close to my time here. I pushed back something else I had going on because, like I said, this is
yeah, sure.
extremely
I gotta
important
get
to me.
going here soon too, but
Before you go, Will and his channel would like to apologize to you,
um,
if you're okay with that. And I'm not going to make you, but I think that it's at least worth hearing him out. I know that he said some things that upset you, and I think he's trying to do his best to make it right. And I don't think that.
I mean, it's like it's almost like it just puts me in an awkward position because it's like even if basically you're saying that like, oh, I had sent you these messages and you just didn't see them, and then like so that's why it's bad for you to have said the things that you said to me, but that's not really it. Like it's not that like, oh, you were just wrong. It's that even if you were right, it wouldn't have been okay to treat me the way that you were treating me. But um like uh
So I'm not saying you have
but
to accept it. And I'm not telling you you have to have him come on and apologize either. I'm just saying that it might be worth it for you to hear what he has to say, because I don't know what he has to say either.
sure.
I'm
That's
not
fine,
gonna
I guess.
push it. Do you
Yeah,
want
that's fine.
to address the chat thing first or after?
And I'll address it first. So, and then, so first of all, the idea that like I won't stop bringing this up, that might be true to a certain extent, but I mean, you have to understand that like I'm in a position where I can never reach the same audience that Vosh reaches with a single video, right? So, Vosh is able to spread this lie about me. My only like chance of ever setting the record straight or ever like recovering from it are to tell people my story, is to get more people believing my side of things, or at least knowing what happened, that like getting enough people to where it reaches a critical mass to where maybe like I can offset some of the damage done. Yes, Vosh lied overtly. No, I can't sue him. The legal system, like, it's not set up to handle petty internet disputes. Vosh knew that he could get away with it. Um, and like,
He
there's
might be
no
seeing videos
internet
of
court
entertainment.
for me to sue him in, unfortunately. But yeah, I like.
Yeah, you
No,
could just
that's
call that
not
kind of big
like
entertainment or something. Is like that
right,
thing
right,
makes
right.
sense to me.
Like, I'm okay with being called Pedo Anna. That's fine. I think it kind of has a nice ring to it. And my story doesn't change every 5 minutes. That's ridiculous.
He has been
My
entirely
story has
consistent the
never
whole time
changed.
he's been on here.
Yeah, my story has never changed. I have had the same exact story from the beginning. I've told it a million times. You can't have that argument. Either that I bring it up too often or my story changes all the time. I'm always telling a different story. So you'd have to pick one. And I do bring it up too often probably, but that's the only option I have, is to tell people. No. The details do not change. No detail has ever changed. I'm entirely consistent. I'd encourage you to find me saying two separate things about the same thing anywhere ever.
Yeah, I mean, if why does Twitch TV hate me? If you want to send me like 6 different videos where he's giving 6 different accounts of the same event, I'd be happy to watch them. But probably not on this stream. But if you want to send them to me, I'll go over them and I'll see if they're if that exists. I'll see if they're meaningful ones or if it's just
But like,
like a slip of the
and
tongue
the
or
idea that
whatever.
first of all, like I have $3. Like I don't know what people expect me to like sue Vosh for, or like how they expect me to like afford a lawsuit. But the fact of the matter is that like there's no easy way to solve this problem. Like there's no like thing that I can do where like, oh, it's just okay now. Like I can't just sue Vosh. People say that so flippantly, as if it's like, oh, just sue him. Like it's an incredibly difficult process to file a court case. You need a lot of money, and they are not guaranteed to win. Like it's not, and it's just a petty internet drama. Like, I can't convince regular people that I'm fucking right. I can't convince fucking somebody with no stake in the game whatsoever that I'm telling the truth. How am I going to convince a fucking judge or a jury of my peers to give me money as a result of it? Like, come on, be realistic.
Yeah, I don't think that
I
ExtremeDad has to
don't
do
constantly
anything.
interrupt. I don't constantly interrupt to tell my story. That's ridiculous. Other people bring it up, or like me just joining a voice chat, people start like talking about it. I'm not like sitting there trying to interrupt your talk about fucking fried chicken or fucking like uh golf or whatever the fuck you guys are talking about to like talk about how Vosh hurt me. That's absurd and ridiculous.
Even I'd go so far to say even if you did, you're justified. I knew she was gonna say that. He doesn't even know who you are. I don't think.
No, that was just like a literal talk that people interrupted. We were talking about fucking food the other day, fried chicken, or just like how to fucking season your fucking meats. And people stopped at when I joined. People stopped it to talk about like my story. People stopped it to talk about like what was going on with me. And I'm not. I'm completely sympathetic to the idea that I over talk about it, or that I bring it up too often. I understand that. I will keep that in mind in the future.
I think you're fine to do so. I would. Maybe. I mean, maybe not as much more. Hopefully, you don't feel like you have to. But if you feel like you have to, dude, you do you. I can't imagine what it's like to deal with that. And I couldn't fault you for any way of reacting to it. It seems like it's a very terrible situation.
Yeah, it
I
does
think
suck. But anyway, if you want to bring it Will on real quick, we can do that.
yeah, leaking battery. I think that's a bad example. You can complain about something without suing somebody. There's people that don't press charges against people who assault them. You can just want to be done with it. You can just want the truth to be out there and be done with it. Yeah, let me go ahead and get Will in here. And then, yeah, I do got to wrap it up. I know there's people waiting on me, but this is extremely important. Will, I think you have access. Let's see. I'm gonna switch my view real quick. Let's see. Oh. Okay. My bad for misunderstanding leaking battery. Let's see here. Alright, I messaged Will. Also, ExtremeDad. I heard some little clips and stuff here and there, and I know you like to debate people and all that. If you ever wanna go toe to toe with me, I'd be happy to good faith debate you sometime. Oh, how do I just view this? Oh, sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear me. That's my bad. There he is. Okay. Let me move him.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, Will? Do you want to be on camera too?
Yeah, I should probably get someplace where I'm not going to dox myself if I'm going to do that.
Okay. See if I can move these around a little bit.
I'm literally going to be on for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hello. I think I'm
Perfect.
on.
You are
on. ExtremeDad, I just wanted to say sorry for a few things. The first one being that I was too hard on you in the beginning. Again, this shit on President Sunday's stream really caught me off guard. It's not even really your fault because the fact is that you actually did send me this clip and you actually did bitch at me about why I didn't put this clip in the movie. I thought you were talking about a completely different clip that didn't matter because you do that sometimes. But this is actually not your fault at all that I didn't see this clip or that I didn't particularly check this one out. So I'm going to say sorry about that. That's not your fault at all. As your documentarian, I somehow slipped on this clip out of all the clips that I somehow took. And that's a fucking bummer.
Well, and I just resent you the 4-hour clip, but I mean, honestly, like, you're, like, the worst
no problem. Thanks
of all, I would almost say, like, the worst. Vosh's clips are pretty bad, but I would say that the most incendiary, most inflammatory, most damaging comments are made in that 4-hour stream. You know, that's where essentially Xander Hall says that, like, that I was preying on children and they could get me arrested, that I'm like an active child predator who like is like literally looking for 13-year-old girls to prey on, that I sent nudes to minors, that I like all of this stuff. And I just think that it's like a very, very interesting, very important part of the story. And in that, he says that he reads those DMs, the ones that like we're talking about, and then he later on says, he goes back and he says, okay, those ones were fake. Yeah, the chat conversation was fake. The DMs were fake. And but like that I also got caught for doing it in Destiny's community. So, but yeah, I mean, it's an important piece of the puzzle. But even still, even if none of that were true, and even if I had like completely sent them, even if I was like, you don't
Yes.
have.
Can I make the second apology before you go into this?
Sure.
I want to say that I think I was just really mad that I felt like you didn't give me the entire story. But let's say you did give me the entire story, okay? Or let's say you didn't give me the entire story. Let's say these messages are true. I'm not saying that they are. I agree with you that they don't really change the story that much at all. It changes some of the framing around Arc 2, changes some of the other things, but at the end of the day, the core tenets of the video, I think, still stand. And also, I will apologize for giving these messages maybe too much credit on President Sunday's stream, just with my sheer fucking being stun locked, by this new revelation of information, which obviously didn't make either of us look very good.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you're with somebody who, like, President Sunday is like the worst of the worst when it comes to like just like presumptuous, just like holier than thou, like asshole behavior. Like, he's just insufferable, and so he feels like if you give him, like, he's going to be riding that for so long. Like, he's like, I literally saw him on Twitch last night being like, oh, yeah, see, so nobody even pointed it out until I did, and I basically was the one to like identify this entire thing, and like, it's like, dude, he's such a pompous douchebag that really, like, you just to like, you have to anticipate that. I mean,
Betty, don't talk to me about it.
I respect his. I think he's an intelligent guy, though, and I do respect.
He's not really. He's not that intelligent.
I mean,
like,
we can agree to disagree.
Wrong. He's consistently wrong, and he's wrong in this case. But anyway, I'm just saying, I do gotta get rolling here, but
okay.
But I'm just saying, like, I suppose since you spent a bunch of time on this, and I know you're trying to do the right thing, I will forgive you this time, but if I'm not going to tell you again, regardless,
FBI claim,
the disrespect, it just, you can't treat me like that. I'm not going to accept it, and, like, I feel like that's entirely fair. I would say that to anybody. I wouldn't let, like,
I would tell you that if we were in person, like, you were my real friend, like my drinking buddy, and we went out and did shit, and I found out something like this happened, I would have said the exact same shit to you. I would have been the exact same level of irate. Hear me out, though. Can I say something just really quick? Hold on. Hear me out. I would have been irate, and I still would have been wrong in person, and I would have apologized to you in person a couple days later. How I acted was not right, and I apologize. Just before you say anything else.
It's like I said, yeah. Anyway, but all right, everybody. But so with that being said, I think that about wraps it up, huh, Elder Drazi?
Yeah. Thank you, Will. Thank you so very much, ExtremeDad. I really appreciate you coming through and talking to me today. I think if I didn't get to talk to you, I'd have lost my fucking mind, because I needed to. It's been really wild trying to cope with seeing this bullshit fly around. I was very, very upset for you, and for Will.
Yeah.
I hated seeing any of it, and I can't thank you enough for giving me the chance to talk to you and help dispel some of this. Maybe sometime later this week I can talk to you about Mr. Girl. This definitely took priority. I know that's originally what I wanted to talk to you about, but this was a little bit more important than an art project I'm working on.
For sure. Well, I'd love to.
And I had it muted. I said to the chat, I dare President Sunday to try to come at me with that bullshit. I won't take it. I don't care how slow and awkward he talks at me.
I know, right? Well, I appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Have a great night.
Bye, ExtremeDad.
You still there, Will?
Yes, I am. Snitch.
It was really cool of you to come on and apologize.
That was a good stream.
Thank you. I know you know better than anybody that I'm not bullshitting when I said I was literally going fucking nuts about this. Was I not schizo fucking messaging you like crazy about it?
You did. You were, like, Honestly, you might have been more pissed off than I was in some regard. Like, I was pissed because I thought he lied, and you were pissed because the other people lied. Like, we were literally almost the same level of mad, but in, like, completely different directions. Like, it was nice because I was able to, I've been reading your messages, everybody's messages to me, and, what can I say? It's my first rodeo around these here streamer worlds, and, I was just irately mad. Too mad for an online world like this, where everything that you say has to be much more meticulous and measured.
Yeah, well, like I said to him too, I think that your response was very human. I think that when I've made mistakes, or somebody's convinced me that I haven't necessarily had the best reactions. I think especially when you put a lot of work into it. I did say on the stream too that I was like, to me, I was shouting in my room next to my sleeping wife, like, no, just hold your ground. But like, I know it doesn't work like that when you're in that position. I
It's just like
how
I
tough it
didn't.
can be.
It's like I just didn't feel like I was in a position at that point to really double or triple down on any of my claims. Like I was like, holy shit, I had not seen this. Man, the fucked up thing is somehow I did actually see this though. It's just, man, I love ExtremeDad. This isn't the bad talk ExtremeDad, but I literally sent him copies of like the entire script many times, at least 4 times. Like, and I asked him many times, like, hey, can you like go through this and just like, like highlight things that you don't like, or tell me what you think I should add, da 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 da. I mean, maybe it would have been nice maybe if he had read through that and been like, oh hey, you should really throw this clip in here, like really, really, really need to throw this in here. Like, it's all good. It happens. That was my job as the documentarian to try to suss that out.
I'm really
And I
glad you
failed.
said that. I didn't want to say that.
No, that was my job as documentarian. I failed. It's kind of a bummer.
I hope you didn't think that I tried to paint you in any kind of negative light in this conversation. I love you, buddy. I think you're a good guy, and I'm still really proud of the thing that you did for ExtremeDad. I'm just really fucking pissed at President Sunday, and to some degree, I really like Chud. I'm really upset that he had such confidence talking about how hard it is to fake the message and stuff. Like, if you don't know, then you just don't know. I don't know if maybe like if he leaned on Dan at the beginning, and Dan, for whatever reason, he thinks that Dan's an expert on Discord. If that's the case, then he fucking definitely hurt his credibility there a lot, because obviously he doesn't know.
And I'm going to tell the audience now, like, we are not ruling out that these are fake yet, still, like, at all. That is still very much in the air. These very well could be fake. But then, to reiterate, even if they aren't fake, this doesn't really hurt the claim at all. That ED isn't a pedo. Bosch, Xanderhall, Hyena are still assholes that need to apologize. Worst case scenario, I think at this point, like, is that, ExtremeDad doesn't want to talk about it because it's hurt him, which is very fair. And, yeah, and like, who cares if you have a DDLG kink, right? That's, as you've discussed earlier, very common. Much more common than most people think.
It's surprisingly common.
Yeah.
If my Tinder matches putting it right in their fucking bio rather consistently, well, more so before the pandemic, but like it was a lot, is any indication, then yeah, I would say so. Either that or
Yeah,
I just fit the fucking bill for what they're looking for.
Big Daddy over here. No, but like it's really not. It's not that bad. It's really not that weird.
It's not. And,
of all the other kinks you could have, right? Like, it's really not that weird.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And just so you know, I just to reinstate, I have to lean heavily towards that they're fake, just because I have no reason to trust her, and I seemingly have reasons to trust ExtremeDad. He hasn't actually been proven to lie about anything.
Some advice that I have gotten from a wise content creator is that I'm going to much more explicitly in this next one. You're going to know that we're going down possibility threads. And I think my main goal at the end is, rather than describing things as like factual, because the reality is that at this point, basically anything that was factual, I think was revealed. Everything else that hasn't been revealed yet, it's impossible to determine if it's like, without a doubt, factual or not. So we're just going to have to lay out all the claims, all of the evidence again, go through all the multiple threads, and then explain the probability, I think, of the threads being true. Do you know what I mean? I think that's like the best we'll be able to do. Because we'll never be able to know for sure. You know what I mean? I think. But maybe we will. I still got to research, right? But I don't know if we'll ever come to that point. Which is okay.
I think you did a good job of clearing him. It's just whether or not people are willing to actually hear it. In your first video, at least, whether or not people are willing to hear what's like very clearly there with the facts that you did present. Like you said, even on the small off chance that that's a real message, which I have zero reason to believe, it changes nothing. It changes nothing about the accusations against him. He's still completely
Yeah.
cleared in my book.
I agree, and man, hindsight's 2020. I know next time that I launch an incredible expose like this, I'm probably gonna wait 48 hours before I go on anybody's streams. That's high key, just like sit and let whatever info comes for a couple days leak out, and then maybe go on.
Yeah.
Because like it's so funny, man. Like President Sunday, he hit me up and he was like, "You want to go on stream tonight?" And I'm like, I love your content, I'm like, can we do it some other day? And he's like, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Like, I want to talk about it right after I watch it. And I'm like, all right, like that's pretty fire. Like that's pretty. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so I said yes. But that was probably stupid.
I mean, maybe we all make mistakes, and I try to be charitable to you as well. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus either. I think that like your reaction was pretty human, but I also understand how ExtremeDad feels as well. It's hard to acknowledge that stuff when you're on that side of it.
I really wasn't any better than Bosch was that day, and I feel really bad. Like that was ExtremeDad. I admit on the stream, and that's why we're gonna fix it with DFP2.
Well, you're better than Bosch today. You said you were sorry.
Well, I'll feel better once I actually get the thing out and get this straightened out once and for all.
If you need anything from me, just let me know, okay?
Dude, I always got you close in my inbox.
I know, we talk a lot. Thank you very much, everybody who joined. Yeah, you gonna take off, Will?
I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks, gang. Thanks, chat. I appreciate you. Peace, Elder.
Have a good night, Will. Bye. I think I did what I set out to do here. Really, I said enough times how upset it made me to see all this go down this way. There's people who, like Will's my friend, ExtremeDad, finally got his way out of a terrible situation, and it seemed like the online community was just trying to drag them both down, and they don't deserve it. I can't deal with that. If I have information in my head or that's obvious to me, I have to say something about it, and I think that I did that. I hope that's what happened here.